I have a bit of a confession for you guys. I clicked go live a while ago, and it didn't go live. So I've been talking to myself for half an hour and wondering why no one was responding to me. Oh, man. The chat was just good enough that it seemed like you were responding to me. Well, that's awkward. All right, Popcorn. If you're saying anything, I can't hear you. Unfortunately. I always talk to myself. What are you talking about? Of course I was answering myself. So that makes sense why one of you was saying, why are you late? Well, there we go. All right, so Popcorn's presenting. Very good stuff. But I still can't hear anything. But we do get to watch a whole bunch of me. And there's that. And there's that. And there's one behind that. And kablamo. Oh, that's fun. Hold on. All right. We have fun here. All right. I'm so sorry for not properly streaming this. We learned, though. We learned. Popcorn. Again, if you're saying anything, I can't hear you, Popcorn. I can call you through the phone, and then we can use this meet thing, if that helps. We see him typing. Good. Okay. So you want me, just to confirm, you want me to call you through the phone? Five seconds delay is not bad. Repo, that'd be a good time if my fingers were changing. All right. I will make that happen. Give me just 1 second. I'll call you. Stand by. Is this what I want? Boom. All right. We're making the call. God, it's so loud. All right. Let me make sure my microphone access is good.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
All right, do you hear me?
And I hear me through the computer, so it's like feedback.
All right, give me just 1 second.
Well, I turned the volume down so I don't have feedback. But
Gotcha.
Can you see me because I have my camera and mic on, and it says I'm presenting.
Yeah, I think if you're presenting, I can't see you. Give me just 1 second. Are you hearing me through the phone, or are you hearing me through...
Just through the phone.
Okay, so you can't hear me.
That's how you get feedback.
All right. Let me check some stuff real quick, because this is a new experience for me, doing it with the video. And all right, I see you presenting. So I think if you're presenting, it might not show your face.
It should. I gave it the camera and the mic, but it's not showing me, so I don't see me either. So.
Gotcha.
Let me put stop presenting. See what happens.
All right. Things are happening.
This is all different since the last time I did a live stream.
Well, you have me beat because I don't think I've ever used this.
So I'm putting presenting now, and I'm doing it to you part 2. Oh, I did that. Let's try it again.
Oh, nope. That's just me again.
Something's happening in your background. Nope, it's just going, I'm going to stop presenting. And present now, and I'm gonna try something different.
All right.
No, that didn't work either. I'm gonna try clicking your link again.
Okay.
Okay, now I can see me, and I'm gonna put join now, not present.
Okay. Oh, something's happened. All right.
Yep.
Now I see you.
Okay. That worked.
That appears to be working. Yes.
Okay, and to get audio, how do I? Is that feedback?
I can. Yeah, there's a little bit of feedback.
You think that's because we're on the phone?
I think it's because you're playing my stream back through my my computer, which is then playing back through the stream. If you mute the stream on your computer, it should fix it.
Yeah, but I can't hear you except via this telephone.
Well, you should still be able to hear me through the telephone, but if you mute it on your
No,
computer.
okay, I hear you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm hanging up.
Perfect.
Bye. Now you can hear me?
I can hear you, but you might. Yes. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
All right. So now your microphone's working. That's good. Perfect. All right. So I don't know if you heard. I'd been streaming a little bit earlier to sort of get people in the stream, and I had forgotten to hit the stream button, or I'd hit it, but it didn't work, and so I was talking to myself for
And
some
this
time.
looks
So
all different to me since the last time I did this.
yeah, this is all new to me. I've never tried to put a video in a stream, and I don't do all of this. So, cool. We talked yesterday. We didn't really talk about the topic that we meant to talk about, which was House Resolution 6666. Today, we're going to try to stay a little more on topic, I hope. Certainly, I'll try to direct it more in a linear path that is on topic. But you wanted to say that one of the things that you brought up to me was that House Resolution 6666 was introduced 7 times in 2019, and the first time that was introduced was in January of 2019. And I'm very interested in hearing more about that, because on the actual paperwork for House Resolution 6666, it says that it was first introduced on May 1st. So I figured that might be a good place to start.
And I had it ready to share, but since we didn't go on like this, I'm going to try to find it real quick.
Sure.
So, oh God. I'm going to try going through history. Because I know that's not the title of the pretty sure this is a channel where I got it. I'm pretty sure this is the video. Now I just gotta. Oh, BB, I was already yesterday. Now I gotta.
Oh, it's fine. I got nothing else to do but sit here. You take your time.
Ay, ay, ay. Do you know how to let me present if I find it?
You should be able to present through your screen. If you send me a link, I should be able to. I could play it
No, I
in
think
mine.
that if I remember correctly, it should say something since you're hosting for whoever's on with you to share. Do you see a share button?
No.
This should be the video. I mean,
The desktop meters of Pinnacle. Some are.
can you hear that?
Some are GM.
I can hear it.
It's not sharing, is it? Because I'm in the
No,
video.
if you hit present now, I should be able to see it.
See, that's all so different than when I.
Whatever happened to the. Definitely. Of soldiers.
Let's go on and discuss as I search, because
Sure.
okay, I'll find it.
Okay.
It'll take me a minute. Oh, if I hit present now,
Mhm.
it should present my material.
That is my understanding of it. Yes.
It used to say share. God, it's been a long time since I've done that. Ay, ay, ay. I'm gonna try something different. See, if I search HR 666, and this is what I don't like about the system. It's going to give me okay. This is I'm trying to find somebody that's presenting the actual bill.
Sure.
Um, because that's the only way I got proof. Anybody could talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And I never played the video, so shoot. I'm gonna have to try going through history again. But I would never say anything, BB, if I could not back up what I was saying.
Okay.
And the person shows the actual when it goes before Congress, it goes before a vote, and it went 6 or 7 times, all by September, October of 2019.
Now,
And
which House resolution was this?
House Resolution 6666.
All right.
And I saw it with my eyes. That's what I'm saying. I'll find it. I mean, before we I might have to go back some days to find it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So many people covered it, and so I got to go through. But I need to present something that shows it, not just somebody talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
River is a red tide.
And I know you can't find it, so I agree with you, because I just put HR 666. It brings up many of the channels that I covered talking about it. But this guy actually shows the bill and how many times it went across the House floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very interested in seeing that. Mostly because my understanding is that it was first presented May 1st, 2020.
Nope, January, I swear. And if this guy didn't show it, like if he just talked about it, we would never even be in this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
He shows it. He shows the date it went, how many times it went up on the House floor. Because when did I first bring that up to you? Because then that'll be easy.
Oh, that was a few days ago.
I know, and I go through so many. I swear I know the channel that presented it.
Sure. Now, you're not, perchance, thinking of H.R. 6666, which was presented by the 115th Congress, are you?
Unless there's two HR 666.
There are, yes. The numbers reset with every congressional year. Not year, but... So... Congress meets generally twice a year. And after they have all their meetings for that particular Congress, they assemble a new Congress. So we're now in Congress 116, but Congress 115 also had an HR 6666, which was to authorize the Secretary of the Interior to grant to states and local governments easements and right-of-ways over federal land within Gateway National Recreation Area for construction operations and maintenance of projects for control and prevention of flooding and shoreline erosion. So I imagine there may be some confusion there because the numbers are technically the same. It's just under a different Congress. What's that?
Was that presented in 2019?
That would have been 2017 to 2018, but it's the only HR 6666 that would have been presented prior to May 1st.
No, this was definitely a 2019, January, February, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Because it went on the House floor 6 or 7 times.
Okay.
In the video I had ready to present, I can't, unless I'm not singing on there. But that'd be odds for them to have 2 House resolution bills with the same.
Well, no, because they're technically different Congresses. So we have HR 666, which was introduced in January.
Yeah, but of 2019, I'm
correct.
Sure.
January 2019, HR 666, under the 116th Congress. Now, HR 666 is the Haitian Educational Empowerment Act of 2019. That's a different House resolution. We're talking about HR 6666, which is an additional 6.
I swear it was 4 6s. I mean, the 666, I mean, for them to use that number is crazy to me anyway, period. Mm-hmm. Just on principle. Like if the numbers went to that, it's like they should have just skipped it.
I mean, it's a thought. It definitely, I can understand the thought behind it.
I know it's. And the 3/6 bill of 2019 talks about what?
It's the Haitian Educational Empowerment Act. This bill directs the Department of State to establish a scholarship program for eligible Haitian students who were enrolled as full-time or part-time students in a Haitian or U.S. university or institution of higher education and whose studies were interrupted as a result of the January 12, 2010 earthquake or the October 4, 2016 Hurricane Matthew.
Because if they did that to deceive me, I have issue with that. I mean, if you're looking that up, it's possibly that the person.
I mean, it's an easy mistake to make.
I really want to find it because if somebody, from both sides of the fence, if anybody's being deceptive, I have great issue with it. I have huge issue. And if somebody did that, because it would be easy not to, because in your brain you're thinking 3/6 anyway, and that they're using the mark of the beast.
I mean, 100%. That's 666, 6666. I mean, it's a jumble of sixes. It wouldn't be difficult to look at it and get the amount wrong. I know that I'm sure I've misspoken when talking about it.
Does it tell you how many times that bill went on the floor?
I can try to. Let me see if I can figure that out. Oh, goodness. That's not what I want.
No, looks if they did that, maybe they took their video down. Because I don't know how far back. I know I'm at least 3 to 4 days back.
Let me see.
I'm pretty sure whose channel I got it off of. But the video I went on where he's talking about it, it's not. He presented it like he.
Sure.
He showed and I would have never said what I said if I didn't. Because I know I'm a week back, and I know it's within a week. I'm gonna try one more time going to their channel. and if not, I'll rescind what I said.
Gotcha.
If I can't prove what I said, I'll have to rescind it. It was at least 4 days, correct?
That sounds about right.
That's what people get convicted of.
I'm going through all his channels, because I want to see the actual bill. And if he pulled some funny business, it's not on that one.
See that?
Because I believe you're right with that. There's funny business on both sides. but I still don't trust my government. I mean, not like many people do. You know, I can find you plenty of things to show their dishonesty. Even if I come up goose egg on this, um, check that one. Check that one.
It's highly
Do you even look into information like what I'm talking about?
I've tried to find anything that was supporting what you were saying. I didn't come across anything. I'm not saying it's not out there. I personally did not come across anything.
I'm sure who my source is.
Mm-hmm.
The video I had ready to go yesterday, it's not even in there. I mean, he shows the bill.
Sure.
It was in the title.
Now I can give you the title of the bill if that's what you're looking for. If that would help you find it.
Well, it's HR and 4/6s.
Yep, HR 6666. COVID-19 testing, reaching, and contacting everyone.
You know, there's pros and cons of people speaking of it, but this guy's entire message was that they presented this a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can't find the title. And the video that I thought it was, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm on the wrong presenter of it. That's possible too.
That is possible. I mean, we could try this again later. If
there. How you doing, Tanya?
do you think that you might find it then?
In Hazard County.
I wouldn't. I'm trying some other presenters real quick just to, if I don't see it clearly in their title.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. Because they've taken so many people off air behind this.
Sure.
Which is another thing you and Merburn talking about.
I can talk about that.
The massive censorship going on all social. I've been put on timeout in Facebook several times over the last couple months.
Sure. Well, I know that things that are perceived as misinformation are being restricted as far as how that information is being distributed to the general public. So YouTube and Facebook are trying to crack down on what they perceive as misinformation, which is why I'm sure there are limitations.
Well, the thing that I used to back up HR 666 after we shortly discussed it, I told you in Utah, and this was a state bill, was very similar. And now that I could find.
Sure, hit me with it.
All right. This should be it.
Hey, what's up?
Because I said I'm sure if they're doing this in one state, they're doing this in all states.
on the exact.
And this was before I even knew of HR 666.
Sure.
Orders in session first.
It's not that long of a video. Do you want me to play the whole video?
Sure, why not?
Order is in effect kill, protest, not some.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how to do it. Now, if I hit present,
we should be able to see it.
Present. This is all new to me. It was so easy before. You sure there's nothing that on your end that says allows me to share?
If you hit present now, it should be on the bottom right. I think.
No, I
it should
got
pop
that,
up for you.
Then I get a tab that says Chrome, a window. Let me try your entire screen. Let me try a window.
Sure.
Okay. But now, how do I? Oh. Because now it's like I'm sharing what we're in our little share. Can you see it?
No, I cannot.
Let's make a whole bunch of memes and let's protest.
Let's beg our masters for permission.
I can hear it.
Well, all of that was good. And
Yeah, because I'm playing it. I'm trying
a lot
to.
of people of like mind on the same page. We have to take it to the next level where we actually enforce the law of the land. We have a culture that we believe in upholding the law of the land, and the law of the land is the Constitution. So
I don't know what to do.
Well, try clicking present now on the bottom right of your of the Google Meet, and it should share your screen, so we'll be able to see it.
Okay. But
Or, I mean, you can send it to me and I can play it.
how do I send it to you?
If you put it in the send it through Gmail, I think that should be possible. Or on the top right,
Here,
of
why don't you just go to the channel? It's because that'd be a lot quicker.
Okay.
It's called Defending Utah Radio and TV.
All right, hold on. Defending Utah. And then what was it?
Radio and TV. But it should just, I don't think anybody has a close acronym.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, radio.
And it has
TV.
a blue and white moniker.
Yep. And what's the name that I'm looking for?
Okay, it's on their video is a call to action, and it's April 30th.
April, call to action, time to take back the law. Oh, no, that's May 1st. Hold on. Let's see. Call.
Oh, no. That's the follow-up.
Okay.
The actual, if you go down, if you had the videos open.
Yep, I have them open.
Urgent share Utah legislature attacks.
Legislature. Okay. The 20-minute video?
And yeah, it's 1905.
Yes. All right. Give me just 1 second. It's going to have ads. Oh. All right. We're going to skip them as best we can. And
I have that ad blocker on.
Yeah, I don't have mine activated on this.
I can't believe China's blaming the U.S. for this whole.
Those are so annoying. They're worth it. I mean,
oh yeah.
Quiet on set!
I think they're actually already recording.
All right, hold on.
Yep, that's it.
All right. So we're gonna play.
Oh, we're actually doing it. Okay. I'm just waiting for that. Make sure. Okay.
I
Hello,
lost
everybody.
your
This is
audio.
McClintock here with Micah Turner.
You can't hear the audio.
No, now I can.
Okay. You probably won't be able to hear the audio of the video unless you're watching it through stream.
Yeah, I have to stream.
Okay.
From Defending It, Utah.
There's going to be a little bit of delay.
With Scott Bradley.
Okay.
Dr. Scott Bradley. And there is a huge thing going on right now with the state legislature. If
You
didn't
can
know
hear the
already, they
audio?
are having a
Yes.
special session tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. And one of the bills so far that we've been able to look through, this stuff isn't been up to be able to really look at much, but we wanted to share it with you. You need to contact your legislators right now. Get their cell phones, call them up. It's 11 o'clock at night. They're dirt bags if they want to vote for this, and I'll tell you why.
Send them text messages too. Call them and you send them a text.
It's HB 309, Timothy Hawks, and Jacob Anderegg. This guy, he's got so many horrible bills.
All right, hold on. We got a little bit of feedback going on. Let me see if I can.
No, the feedback's from me.
Right. I'm
I
gonna.
can't listen to it, but I've watched it before, so you guys watch it.
Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna put you on mute for just a second.
Okay, doke.
And then I'll just so the feedback doesn't happen. Then once I stop
Well,
it
I'll
to
turn the
address this.
volume down, so I don't have to listen to it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Bills. So this is local
happens?
government emergency response.
All right. Local government emergency response.
Well, then why are you moving it away?
Got to get a little closer to my screen to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. I think they can hear. So there's a few things that this bill does. It makes it defines certain things, and it gives new powers to local mayors of cities as well as to county mayors if you have an executive in your county, and it gives them insane new powers. And we brought on Scott Bradley because everybody loves Scott. He's a constitutional expert, and he can tell us, are we interpreting this correctly? And so we go to lines 97, and this bill.
Now, I do want to put a pause right there. I think, Popcorn, you're the only one that can unmute yourself in the Google Meet, which I didn't realize when I muted you. We have Scott, the constitutional expert. Those are his only credentials. I don't know if he's actually a constitutional expert, but we shall see. Just something to keep in mind.
You can hear me now, right?
I can hear you now.
Of the bill, and it talks about local order of constraint.
But the reason I used this
And what that
bill
means.
was as a backup.
And so it says it means an order.
Well, this would be
rule,
for
or regulation.
Utah specifically.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they're doing this, I didn't look into other states. My home state. This is very draconian, and they actually stopped it 24 hours before it went to a vote.
Okay.
Issued
I mean, they made the mainstream
emergency
news
applies
cover.
for a municipality, and
I just want you to break it down and see with your own eyes the next level where they're going. And this is very similar to HR 666, just at the state level.
3009. All right, give me just 1 second to look that up. Let's see. HB 3009, Utah. All right, so I'm going to read it. We're going to go through it. And I'm going to give my
Gary,
thoughts on
you
it.
people,
Sure.
go watch this yourself so you can look at the bill.
Right. Okay, so let's see. HB 3009, State of Utah, Chief Sponsor Timothy D. Hawks, Senate Sponsor Jacob L. Anderegg. Long title, general description. The bill enacts provisions related to local government response during a declared emergency. Now, many states have declared emergencies, so this is specific to states to Utah under the declaration of an emergency. So, bill defines terms, provides for local chief executives rather than local health departments to issue generally applicable orders of constraint responding to a declared emergency with legislative body and, in certain circumstances, gubernatorial oversight. Provides for electronic meetings in certain circumstances for a local legislative body to take actions regarding a local order of constraint. addresses state preemption of a local order of constraint, provides certain flexibility in local government, budgetary, and fiscal procedures in response to a declared emergency, allows for extensions for certain local government receipt and deposit requirements, provides for county auditor to give notice of and conduct its tax sale electronically during a declared emergency in certain circumstances, allows the local government to conduct certain transactions electronically, provides for additional extraordinary circumstances that allow a local government entity to delay responding to a records request. What this sounds like to me so far, and there's more to it than that, but so far it's basically like, look, the government's not going to be meeting in person, so let's set up a way so that they can have their meetings remotely through video chat, that things can be paid remotely online, so that all of it can be done remotely, so that people aren't exposed to this virus. That's what I'm getting in the first 27 lines.
I think it's around 29.
All right, we're at 28 right now. Extends deadlines for posting.
Because I might be wrong.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. No, I'll go through all of them. Why not? Well, maybe not all of them, because there is. Oh, we'll see. We'll keep going. All right, where's that? 29. 28. Extends deadlines for posting minutes of public local meetings. Okay. 29. Restricts a local health department during a declared emergency to co-signing a local order of constraint that a local chief executive issues rather than independently issuing an order. Okay, so restricts the local health department during. So we have restrictions on the local health department during the declared emergency, which we can assume that Utah is under. And basically what it looks like to me is that a local chief executive, it's the breaking of it is weirding me out. Co-signing a local order of constraint that local chief executive issues rather than independently. So it all that seems to be is that there's going to be some co-signing involved. I'm not seeing anything that really stands out to me as an incredible issue.
I might be wrong. I'm just saying it. If you go back to the video, that other guy to the right on the screen, facing the screen, is a constitutional lawyer.
Okay.
And he breaks it down and he explains what the law actually means. I mean, they didn't get it stopped for nothing. Sure. I mean, I might be wrong, 27, 28, 29, it could be 34. They have it highlighted, and like you enlarged the bill so people could read it, which is good.
Sure.
But there is some, and I know y'all don't like this word, draconian.
Sure. It's a fine word. It's a lovely word. I think it should be used more often. Here's one that is standing out to me, though, which I'm actually very much in favor of. We have under... Where was I? 32 requires a local health department to consult with and make recommendations to local chief executives and legislative bodies regarding local orders of constraint. So if there are going to be orders that constrain people, perhaps to their homes, limiting where they can go in public parks or in private businesses, there has to be consultation between the people making those laws or issuing those orders with health departments, which is amazing.
That, we agree on that.
Absolutely. I think that's a great thing to include in here.
Merv even agrees on that, going back to that law where if somebody's infectious, you can... But no, keep reading that bill.
Sure. All right, we're gonna keep going.
HR 666. It goes into going into your house if you're not behaving, following the rules.
Now that
tracking,
we can discuss that after that. The HR 6666 entering people's homes, all that. Just 1 second. Let me see. Where was I? I was somewhere around here. And allows a local health department to impose a civil penalty for violation of a chief executive's stay-at-home order in certain circumstances. So that means that the health department can basically make people pay fines if they're not following the rules when it comes to social distancing, staying at home, that sort of thing. Right. Okay, which is the same as every other stay-at-home order that I've seen is. And you can't issue an order without some sort of penalty for disobeying it.
Wisconsin struck it down. It's unconstitutional. And I told you, I stand on the principles of several sheriffs in every state said it's unconstitutional. Shutting down businesses, not letting people open up, and quarantining everybody. That's my principle is where they're overreaching.
Okay. Now, do you have anything that shows that it was struck down as unconstitutional?
Well, the first video I want you to watch is, or you could just go to the channel, and they have it in their title.
Because HB 3009 seems to limit the government more than it is limited now. It seems to add more restrictions rather than taking restrictions away from how the government can react to this. So if it's unconstitutional, basically that means that the government has more authority than it would under HB 3009.
Well, it gives us, like these governors' powers, it gives them the right to...
I don't think it does give them right. I think it basically says, look, if you're going to establish these restrictions on people's movements, on where they can be, where they can go, what they can do, you have to be consulting with doctors, which wasn't apparently, and I don't know much about Utah law, I never enforced law there, but based on how it's worded, it sure seems that that was not present already, and that the HB 3009 is now requiring the government to take more steps to ensure that the restrictions are reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and I'm looking at what is it, Libertas Utah, Libertas Institute. I don't know much about the Libertas Institute, but it's saying things like requires the chief executive to consult with the health department. Okay, that's a limitation on government powers. Prohibits a local government from reissuing or extending an order that has been vetoed by the governor. That's a limit on government powers. All right, it does allow the legislative body to reauthorize and extend the order, but that means that only the legislative body could do that. So that's a limitation on some of the subsections of government. For example,
hey, BB,
yeah.
If you just played a part in that video where the constitutional lawyer speaks, he breaks it down.
Now, do you know?
Like Merv breaks laws down.
Sure. Do you know what part of the video?
Lines, 97.
He's
to it when he starts
this
talking.
This is the definition part.
We got
got
some going.
He's a constitutional expert,
and
he can tell us, are we interpreting this correctly?
All right, Merv does say that it imposes more restrictions.
97.
Yeah,
and
that didn't get struck down for nothing. It went to their main news station.
Imposes more restrictions on the government, I believe, is what Merv is saying, not on the people.
Let's listen to this constitutional lawyer.
Sure, no,
he doesn't speak for a long period of time.
Let's do that.
This is the definition
like Merv
of the
gives
bill.
The legal,
and it talks about local order of constraint and what that means.
And they had the entire state call flood
rule or regulation
the
issued
government
in response to a
and
declared
stop that
emergency.
bill.
Sure.
Applies for a municipality.
They didn't do that
you want to, Scott,
for nothing.
For a county, countywide.
You might be right. There might be a lot of stuff in there that put some restrictions on law. I'm just saying what I pointed out to you on Merv that I find tyrannical of their overreach. I don't live in Utah. I don't care what they're doing, But when I see these, it's very similar to HR 6666.
Sure. All right. Well, let me listen to it a little bit because he's starting to actually list things.
All right.
Individuals or a certain class of individuals or public places or a certain class of public places, and for the protection of the public health and in response to the declared emergency, establishes, maintains, and enforces isolation or quarantine, establishes, maintains.
One of those. All right, so for the protection of the public health and in response to the declared emergency, establishes, maintains, or enforces isolation or quarantine. What is the context of that? So local order of constraint. This is the definition. All right, so local order of constraint means an order, rule, or regulation issued in response to a declared emergency. That is nothing surprising because that's essentially what's happening, is these states are declaring emergency, which means that the governor or whoever the legislative body has given the powers to issue or to... let me back up. So when a state declares a state of emergency, certain members of that state's government, depending on how the state legislation is worded, get certain powers that they wouldn't normally have. So in my state, the governor now has the authority to limit where people can go. I don't know how it works in Utah. I haven't read through Utah's legislation. But we have in the definition section what exactly the local order constraint means in the context of this proposed bill. So it's a response, an order, rule, or regulation issued in response to a declared emergency that applies for a municipality, municipality-wide, or for a county, countywide, or countywide, that's the word I'm looking for, applies to all substantially, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of a distance away from my screen, applies to all or substantially all individuals on a, I gotta zoom in a little bit, guys, I'm sorry. I can't read this far away. If I get too close, I'm too close to my camera. For context of what's going on here and why I can't read today. All right. Applies to all or substantially all individuals or a certain class of individuals or public places or a certain class of public places, and for the protection of the public health and in response to the declared emergency, establishes, maintains, or enforces isolation or quarantine, establishes, maintains, or enforces a stay-at-home order, it exercises physical control over property and over individuals, or closes theaters, schools, or other public places, or prohibits gatherings of people. Now, this order doesn't do that. This order limits a lot of that. That's just, look, when we discuss what exactly this is, that's the definition. This order isn't establishing that. So, I mean, if this is struck down, that's not because this is establishing a local orders of constraint. From what I've seen. Now, there's a lot of this that we haven't seen. And so, of course, you don't want to take things out of context.
If you go to that constitutional lawyer.
Sure, yep. I'll let him keep talking.
Because I know you were listening to the guy in the blue shirt talk. I mean,
right.
It's his show.
Right. Well, I don't want to, leave things out. So we're going to keep going. I just wanted to, since he's talking about that, I wanted to give us a look at it.
Or enforces
and let's see what he has to say.
Stay-at-home order.
Okay.
Exercises physical.
And he's reading through exactly what I read through.
And over
individuals. This right here is the major part. I mean, all this is horrible.
And over individuals.
And over individuals. It exercises physical control over you and your.
And he still seems to think that this definition is the order, but I don't really know. We're going to keep going with the video.
Not just your home, but your property. It's just a very broad term. Your vehicle
and your person.
And your person, right?
And your family.
They literally have a license to do anything.
I thought the guy on the right was a lawyer, man.
Gotcha. Well, they're saying that gives them literally the right to do anything. That is not true. There are absolutely limitations in what they can do.
See, you got Merv and them thinking there's a third guy in the room.
Right.
Isn't that the video you have up?
Oh, I'm seeing two people in my video right now. I don't know if we got in a third person in there, but I believe what they're saying is the guy who's supposedly a constitutional expert is not. Oh, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is.
They go to Skype with them, but there's a guy in a white shirt. That's what I'm talking. I'm pretty sure he's a lawyer.
Okay.
Because he breaks it down like you do, Merv. He gives the.
Well, we're gonna keep listening to what they have to say.
Okay.
Far away from the mic, Enoch.
And there is only there's only two things in the universe. There's individuals and then there's property. So this is
it's attacking everything and gives them unilateral control for 14 days.
Now, I don't know if I'd say I'd agree with what they're saying right there. It doesn't give them unilateral control for 14 days. I mean, over some things potentially, but there are definitely limits to this. I think one of the concerns a lot of people have is they're going to take away all of my rights. To which I say that your rights, there are a lot of limitations that can be attached to your rights. And there are a lot of Supreme Court cases, and maybe we'll reference a few of those here. But we will see.
Emergency. They have 14 days.
But that's the thing, though, BB. What I said, when you give the government an inch, they take a mile, especially with vague law.
Okay. Now, vague laws are often struck down for being vague. And I'm not going to argue with that. And I don't know if this law is vague. We haven't gone through all of it. And I haven't read through what is or is not allowed through in the state of Utah through their legislature. But a lot of it, what it comes down to is you have a right to do certain things. But the moment that right infringes on someone else's rights, now you have to sort of weigh those rights against each other. So let's say you have the right to travel, all right, which is something I've discussed a lot on this channel involving sovereign citizens. Not that that's anything to do with you, just something that comes up a lot. And so the right to travel, you have the right to ingress and regress to and from a state, which is just crossing the border, and you have the right to travel within a state and, you know, live where you want, essentially. Well, I mean, not where you want, but there's case law that establishes, like, look, you can move around within a state and limitations have to be reasonable. There are limitations to that, though, of course. So if you are driving, you're traveling through driving a vehicle, well, in the interest of public safety, you have to be licensed. Now, states are allowed to enforce licensing laws. But doesn't that limit your right to travel? In a sense, yes, but the courts don't see it that way, because your right to travel, it doesn't actually limit your right to travel. It limits the means in which you do it. So, I know this, we're getting convoluted, and I'll try to bring it back on topic, but it does get very complicated, because you can say, well, I have the right to travel in a car. Well, no, you don't. You have the right to travel. The car isn't required for that. Plus, even if you made that argument, people have the right to be safe on a roadway, and if the government has created the road for public use, they also have the right to enforce laws on that public road, and it gets very weird and complicated. And it's when you boil it all down, though, it's weighing one right against another, although other people might take that in a different direction. That's what I usually tell people is, look, you have the right to do a thing, but other people have the right to be safe. They have right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if what you're doing infringes on that in a big way, then it's going to be a problem, and the courts may have to get involved. So,
you, Merv, don't disagree.
Sure.
This is where auditors have issue with me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had major spinal surgery. I'm wearing a back brace right now. Sitting in my wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
It's from a person that hit me and ran from the scene.
Sure.
And people saying I don't have to license, title, identify my vehicle, could go to hell in my eyes, because if it wasn't a bystander that chased that person down and was able to get the license plates where the authorities went from then on and apprehended the guy.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just a sovereign citizen with, the nonsense they put on the back of the car.
Yes. Yeah.
I would have been in whatever laws that they say defends that is bull crap.
Well, I mean, at that point, there's the whole, their crime isn't crime without a victim, which is not true.
Right.
By the way, and that's a whole different thing. But let's get back to the video. Before you're going to drag me into sovereign citizen discussion. It's not hard to drag me into those, because I'll talk about those all day. All right, here we go.
Or your property. They can do anything they want to you or your property for 14 days. And at the end of the 14 days, then the city council or the county council can get together and say, oh, we want to extend it for another 14 days. Indefinitely.
You should also show a link
Scott?
for that.
It's
yes.
This is diabolical.
Yeah, the link can be seen
and that
up
sounds
here.
like an over.
I don't know how well you guys can see
perhaps.
it.
Maybe it sounds theatrical.
All right, so this guy in the white shirt is their constitutional expert, or the person that they are introducing as a constitutional expert. Now, Merb is stating that this guy has purchased a degree from an unaccredited university, which has since been shut down for selling exactly that. I don't know who this guy is. I couldn't say if that's true or not. Worth looking into it yourself. The link to the video is here. I'm sure his name pops up, and I encourage all of you to do your own research, but I am interested in what he has to say.
but truly, if people would get their Constitution out and read
Get
through
your
Article
Constitution
1,
out.
for example, about the individuals, Article 1, Section 1, the right to possess, protect property, assemble peaceably, to worship according to the dictates of their consciences. Article 1 of the Utah Constitution
So
is
he's
a
not
reiteration
lawyer Merv. I don't
of
know
the
if
Bill
he,
of Rights,
I mean, he
basically.
says he is.
But it's interesting
I
to me
just-
that there's other segments in here that basically
Merv
prohibit.
done went ahead in the other class and watched the video, did background.
Yeah, you know how Merv is. He's thorough when it comes to finding out people's backgrounds.
This thing stopping habeas corpus. Habeas corpus means you've got to have a hearing to take somebody and basically imprison them. And this bill here says, oh no, we can imprison them in their homes if we want.
Right.
And there's no due process. There is no court hearing. There is nothing. It's just lock them down, baby. And I don't know how different that is. I mean, if you don't have enough jail cells, just lock them in their homes. I mean, this is so.
So I do want to say that in the interest of quarantining, this is nothing new. And quarantine is the Supreme Court has ruled on it a few times.
We agree on that.
Ogden versus I have it written down somewhere. Ogden versus standby. Let me pull that up.
I know the case you're talking about.
Gibbons versus Ogden, where the Supreme Court more or less stated that the 10th Amendment allows states to enact quarantine laws. And then you have Compagnie Française de Navigation à Vapeur versus State Board of Health Louisiana, which is from 1902, where the Supreme Court confirmed that certain quarantine laws created to protect against yellow fever were not unconstitutional in the context of the whole situation. Basically, there was a boat that had come from Italy with Italian and American citizens on it, and they sailed into a Louisiana harbor or port. And they're like, all right, we're going to disembark. And the Louisiana government is like, absolutely not. You're going to sit here for a certain amount of time. And if I remember correctly, the arguments were against, it came down to, I'm pretty sure that interstate commerce came up. And I'm sure traveling came up. I'd have to read through it again. And then, of course, Merb knows that I brought up Jacobson versus Massachusetts, which highlights all sorts of ideas on when it is reasonable for certain laws to be enacted in the interest of public health. So there have been a lot of rulings on laws regarding an individual's rights versus the right of the public and the ability of the state to enforce certain laws to keep the public safe. Now, because this disease, this virus, the COVID virus, has asymptomatic, in what are the words I'm looking for? It can be transmitted asymptomatically. Basically, you can transmit it to other people without showing symptoms yourself. You can get it, spread it around, and then 2 days later, finally you're showing symptoms, which is one of the reasons why people are being kept at home.
I still have to go back to what Merv said. You have to that's due process. You have to prove that. And you can't quarantine the healthy. You can't quarantine.
Well, that, like I'm saying, is we don't know if they're healthy because it doesn't always have symptoms, but it can still be spread. And we know, based on what we've seen throughout the United States, that people aren't social distancing. They aren't playing it safe. They are engaging in activities that do put people at risk. So in the interest of keeping that from spreading, and really in the interest of making sure hospitals aren't overflowing and unable to treat people because how many people may be coming there, which is a whole flatten the curve idea, I personally would not consider unreasonable. Now, if you were to say, look, we have all these restrictions, but the hospitals are doing just fine. They're not even at risk of overflowing. Let's lessen these restrictions. Now you've got a great argument.
And let's not talk that they set up stadiums, they set up tent cities, stadiums. They brought in two huge naval hospital vessels
True.
that went unused. All these things went unused. That's my proof.
I don't believe they did go unused. I'm fairly
Yes,
certain
they
that,
did.
there
They
was
said
use.
those two naval ships had 8 patients each, one off L.A., one off of New York.
Okay.
People went down there and you could put that video up. Go look at the footage of the naval vessels.
Well, I'm seeing the one in L.A. treated 77 patients.
They could say they
USNS Mercy.
I'm telling you, people went down there with cameras off the coast of the water and filmed nobody going in the vessels and nobody coming out of the vessels.
That's what happens when you have a quarantine, is people don't generally go in or out.
But they're there for the overflow of patients from the hospitals.
Well, they were there in case there was an overflow. They were there to mitigate that, because once the overflow happens, what are you going to treat people on the street? So they put some ships out there. They said, hey, we'll take the extras. They ended up getting 70 in LA. They got 77. Those people were treated, and they said, okay, cool. We're not having the overflow that we expected might happen, so we're going to get out of here. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but they opened up football stadiums since
to
sports
treat people
weren't going on. Where the Dallas Cowboys play, they weren't used.
Well, I mean, they were there just in case. Would you rather have them there and not be used, or would you rather not have them there and then, all of a sudden you need them and they're not available? I'd rather prepare for the worst and get the best than prepare for the best and get the worst.
This is my point, BB. If the hospital gets half full, you might, we get Tent City, contact,
sure,
the city that owns Dallas Stadium, whatever it's called, and we start moving in that direction.
Okay.
But, like I said, punching TikTok, COVID-19. The hospitals were empty. People were sent home. Anybody that was really sick stayed away because of the fear. And, the nurses were doing dance videos. There was nobody in the hospital. The tents were empty. The stadiums were empty. The hospital boats were empty.
Okay.
Just in case, get 10 to 20% full. You guys could believe anything you want to. People in the chat that know me have been teasing me about other things, so I don't take offense to that. I don't have to believe what I don't want to believe.
Okay.
I'm never going to believe anything that comes from the system.
Okay.
And I just wanted attention to this, BB. You did me more justice than I wanted. I wanted to, for 2 days, we've been talking about, the main thing affecting this world. Where, I got Merv to talk about it an extra day.
Right, sure.
I just want the subject talked about. I don't care where you are. I just want the subject talked about. This world is
sure. Sure. I think one of the concerns you have is that places were preparing for a much bigger situation than we had. Now that it seems that we've managed it and things are, hospitals aren't overflowing, people aren't dying because they can't get treatment. Some places it is actually a serious issue, but we haven't hit those critical points that we may have had. But now that
I want to see that, I'm saying I never gave any of this any credit. I never put on a mask. I'm not wearing one now.
Mm-hmm.
I never social distance. Like I said, I met other like-minded people like me in my community.
Mm-hmm.
actually acted closer to one another, just to stick the middle finger in the system space.
Gotcha.
None of us got sick. Nobody got sick. Nobody knows anybody sick.
Well, that's very fortunate. I know people who are sick, unfortunately.
Yeah, but every year you know people that are sick, BB.
True, but not of COVID-19.
That's what they say.
Okay.
But we're not saying any pandemic. We're not saying what the movies tell us that the pandemics look like.
But no, we are very fortunate in that respect, and I'm very glad.
Ears and eyes.
Well, that's because this isn't a virus that causes bleeding out of the ears and eyes, which is
right.
Thank goodness for that.
It happens to be a virus that has the same symptoms as a flu or cold.
Well,
runny nose,
symptoms are a little bit worse. And I mean, this is definitely deadlier. Well, more people have died in the U.S. in the first 5 months of the COVID-19 than die from the flu every year. We don't have a vaccine for COVID-19. We have that for the flu. We don't have the infrastructure in place to deal with a mass outbreak without these types of restrictions.
What state are you in?
I'm in Washington State.
Right, I knew that. Near Seattle?
Relatively close.
Okay, that'd be, go look at the deaths of Seattle. You know, bring up the Seattle, Washington State.gov, whatever, and look at your daily averages of deaths. Go back to December.
All right, we have 992 deaths, 17,951 confirmed cases.
So just daily deaths.
Okay.
They can't fake that.
Well, I don't know that I have a daily thing. Let me pop up.
Just go back to December. We could prove that before this happened. Find out how many. I've looked this information up in my own area. Look at how many people die a day. In
just for everything.
Just on a date, December, and you're gonna see that number stays average. You know.
All right, Seattle deaths. No, it's just giving me a lot of COVID.
You know, you just want the death certificate of deaths.
All right.
Look up any day in December, any 34 days, you're going to see similar numbers. 40, 50 people die in and around Seattle. I don't even think it's going to be that high. Normally they're
all right,
20.
let's see. All right, let's do. I don't know if I can go back that far. King County deaths.
You got to go to the government site.
And let's go. This is SeattlePI.com. And let me see what we have. Here it was getting a little bit of an issue. All right. Is this going to show me anything that I want? Let's find out. It's still loading in. I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, this is just all the names. Goodness. Okay, well, that's not going to tell me much. Deaths each day, Seattle, and now I'm on a watch list. No. All right, death data from the Department of Health, Washington. Access the new death dashboards. Whoever named that deserves a raise. I'll tell you that right now. Purchase files. I don't want to purchase files. Death tables by year. Let's try that. All deaths by county. I've never looked this up before, so I
used to, just to prove that hoax death events happen. I mean, you probably don't believe that, but you know, nobody died in Las Vegas at that mass shooting. I mean, just go look it up.
Okay. I don't want to get off topic. I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
I'm used to you're on that site because that looks like every county.
That doesn't have up to this year. Let's see.
And I want people to do this themselves.
I'm sure they
Yes, people died in Las Vegas, Merv. The same 20 people that die every day in Las Vegas from old age, heart attack, hit by a car. But if you go look at the statistics at the night of that concert, 20 people died every night. And there was no extra 30 to 40 people on the death list for that day. If you see that spike, that's proof.
Do you think that maybe that's because the deaths were registered to their home of records, the states where they lived?
No, that's not how death happens. When death happens at a particular place, go look it up. Don't take my word for any of this. Everybody go do your own research. Death happens at that place and time. People can laugh. People can not believe it. People can believe what they want to believe.
Okay, I'm sure they will.
But I'm telling you, when you look into this data, you're not going to see spikes of 20 to get to your 900 number for 2 months. You're going to have an extra 20 to 30 people dying above average. Don't you get it, BB? That's just basic math.
Well,
you're not going to find that.
I'm not finding anything that confirms or denies what you're saying. Unfortunately, I'm not.
I recognized it.
Yeah, but that was from 2018. I can't find the 2019, 2020. I don't think they have that listed.
They have to. You could go back to 1985.
Well, we can go back, yes, but I don't think they have it registered up to 2019, 2020. I'm sure they're still crunching those numbers.
No,
we have 2018. That is as far as it goes.
Yesterday's death record.
Yeah. All right. Let me look up Seattle daily deaths.
Yes, devil.
What are they saying?
Is the Earth flat?
Okay.
I was one of Merv's original. What's his? Merv's other site, whatever that is. I haven't been there in a while. I can't get back to that site. But anyway, a lot of people in the First Amendment are flat earthers. It's just what they are in.
You know what? I believe that, actually.
I mean, if you look into it, there's no other way to believe. But most people just don't have the heart to admit it. And I came on there. I never went on there wearing a flat earth in his Discord. I was on his Discord.
Yes.
We were talking about it one day, and what's Ohio Guardian, his wife was on there talking about it. And I went in there and stuck up for them. I like people to believe, because they were getting attacked. People like to attack you when your beliefs are different than theirs. And I just defended them. I was like, yeah, I'm a flat earther, and And then Ohio Guardian months later attacked me, and they were teasing me because I'm cool with everybody in that Discord. I take offense to teasing. And I was like, dude, your wife was in here pushing the flat earth. I defended your wife, and you're going to sit here and attack me? I'm like, and, so people on here that know me from that are teasing me on that. I don't take offense to it.
I mean, I have a guy who apparently has looked into the flat earth stuff quite a bit. I mean, if we wanted to change topics and discuss that, I hesitate to say briefly because I'm sure it wouldn't be. We could change topics to bringing in my Discord expert, who I have no idea if they know what they're talking about, because they're messaging me like, let me at him. I got some stuff that'll blow him away. My word's not his. But I feel like we should probably stay on topic.
Thanks, Pitbull.
I'm.
Yeah, I was one of the original flat earthers. I'm not gonna say I was the first one online,
because who knows, right?
I was like, before I went as viral as it did, I was already around 2014, 2013. I was.
You were the hipster of flat earthers.
Well, I already knew I was dead into man never went to the moon and man never went to outer space.
That's a standard platform, I think, for a lot of the people who have embraced the flat Earth movement.
Oh yes, yes. That's where a lot of us came from. They didn't go to the moon. I mean, major outlets made documentaries. You know, some major investigators. I mean, that's an easy one for me. And a lot of people, what they say, 1 out of 4 people under 30 don't believe we ever went to the moon.
I couldn't tell you.
No, I'm saying that's what the mainstream. I think CBS did a poll. I'm not sure who, but it's the mainstream. No, we didn't, Devil. You could think so. And the moon is not that far away either. But, you know, I started, you know, nobody could tell me anything, BB.
I believe it. You seem like someone who is just, they believe what they believe, and, you know, nothing's going to get in the way of that.
Yeah, I have to figure it out for myself. But
you've got your convictions,
I'm sure about something. Like, I know there's nothing out there that could make me sick. You know, I'm sure there's viruses and colds, you know, but I have a very good immune system. I eat healthy.
Now, I have a question, actually, a personal experience, not with the moon. It has to do with the moon and the distance. I've obviously never been to the moon. But as far as the distance goes, back in the day, thanks to my dear father, who I don't call enough, I really should. Call your parents, people. They deserve it.
Right.
He got me into ham radio, which is what old people used to do when they lived in rural, who knows what. I'm just kidding. Ham radio is great. I don't still do it. I'm sure when I'm sort of in retirement, I'm like, you know what? This would be fun to get back into. Maybe I'll look back into it. But ham radio is basically, you get a big old radio and you communicate with people. It can be locally, it can be around the world. One of the things that people do is they bounce signals off the moon. Because the moon is, somehow it works, right? It bounces off the moon, and it's not great, but you can do it. It bounces up and it bounces down. You can measure the distance of the moon by doing that, based on how long it takes for that signal to get back. You just take the time, divide it by 2, and then multiply it by the speed of sound, if I have my math correct. Now, that math puts the moon at the distance that it is alleged to be at by scientists. I wonder if you had a comment about that.
Sierra, I hope I'm saying, Marie, I'm saying your name right.
I'm sorry, the speed of light. What speed of sound? Thank you, Merb. Speed of light, because radio waves are electromagnetic spectrum. Speed of sound. How dare I? Speed of light. That is what I was looking for. Merb has got me there. Here I am trying to do the math in my head. Getting things confused. Yes, for those of you who are confused by what I just said, radio waves travel at the speed of light. And you can measure the distance of something by how long it takes to bounce off of it and come back. And you can do that with radio waves.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Real
yeah,
quick?
I'm sorry. I was just correcting glaring inaccuracies of what I had said.
I get that, but the biggest argument they have that man went to the moon is that they put a refractor on it.
I believe that's correct.
And you're telling me that you're bouncing something off of the moon, which they've always had. They've always had history of bouncing signals, lasers off of the moon prior to the moon Apollo missions.
Yeah, well, you're not bouncing it off that reflective object. You're bouncing it off the actual surface of the moon.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. But they're saying, well, now we could pinpoint it to a pin 239,000 miles away.
Right.
be impossible. I mean, unless you, that'd be impossible. I mean,
what I mean, we're impossible in what way?
To measure a beam like a sniper scope 230 something thousand miles away at a pinpoint location.
No, you can. It's possible. We have some pretty incredible optics and pretty incredible technology.
Well, there's no way to prove it though, BB.
Well, the signal comes back. That's the proof. Is the signal comes back. If you were just shooting off into space, it wouldn't come back.
Always came back before the Apollo missions.
Yes, because you're bouncing it off the surface of the moon. Now, if you're doing
sound off of it, it comes back.
Yes.
The ham radio, like you're saying, RF wave hits it and comes back. These things came back before the Apollo moon mission.
That's correct, because you were bouncing them off the surface of the moon.
Their number one argument is we put a reflector up there.
Right, which you can use with like things like laser beams.
But they shot lasers off the moon before the Apollo moon mission.
Don't
take my word for it. Just look, put in moon mission, lasers reflected off of the moon. When did they start?
Right.
You'll take you back.
If I could spell right, that'd be great. Reflected off of moon. All right. American flag was the only thing astronauts left behind the moon 50 years ago. When Buzz Aldrin left the moon lander, he laid out a reflector module on the surface that enabled scientists here on Earth to shoot a laser at the moon and have that light reflected right back at them, I think is what it meant to say. Lunar laser ranging experiment. Let's check that out. Aimed at retro reflectors planted on the moon during the Apollo missions. Okay, everything I'm seeing says that they're aiming at these reflectors that were placed on the moon by the Apollo mission. I'm not seeing anything that says they were bouncing lasers off.
I'm telling you, I've read it before. They were doing it in the 50s.
Well, I'm not seeing it. Let me look up 1950s. Let me try that.
No, you have to
1950s, because nothing I'm seeing right now. No, 40 years, 19. All right. History of laser ranging and MLRS. We got something that says 1950s.
James Van Allen.
Oh, goodness, it's gonna be hard to read. All right, let me read this. Let me check this out. All right. In the 1950s, a small group of students and researchers working at Princeton University under Robert H. Dick probably first gave substance to the concept of what would become the technique of optical laser ranging. In an attempt to probe the fundamentals of gravity, they suggested that powerful pulse searchlights on the Earth be used to illuminate optical corner retroreflectors placed upon an orbiting artificial Earth satellite. One could then precisely analyze the orbital characteristics of that satellite's motion by photographing its position against the background of fixed stars. So, they had the idea in the 50s. Let me see how we can keep going.
Into James Van Allen.
I'm sorry, James Van Allen?
And he went to one of the Midwest colleges, Wisconsin, I think.
Moon landing conspiracies. Here we go. All right. Nope, that's not. That's two different names.
Yeah, I'm reading it. You scroll up.
All right. The Van Allen radiation belts. There's a thing. All right. Furthermore, the orbital transfer trajectory from Earth to the moon through the belts was chosen to less radiation exposure. Even Dr. James Van Allen, the discoverer of the Van Allen radiation belts, rebutted the claims that radiation levels were too harmful for the Apollo missions, which is true. They were not too harmful.
Because you ain't go up there.
Well, I mean, the guy who discovered the radiation belts is like, yeah, it's not that much radiation. People can survive that. It's fine.
No, come on, BB.
I'm just reading what it says.
Go look at
literally
the Mars
reading what it says
right now. The Mars mission. Go look at it right now.
Oh, what about the Mars mission specifically? There's a lot of stuff about the Mars mission.
Until they figure out how to block the radiation. When has radiation not been dangerous,
Mars
BB?
mission. Well, sunlight is radiation. We can stand
Somebody
sunlight.
help me out. What's the new Mars mission they're working on at NASA?
All right. Estimates are that humans unshielded in interplanetary space would receive annually roughly 400 to 900 MSV. I don't know what unit of measurement that is. Compared to 2.4 MSV on Earth, and that a Mars mission, 12 months in flight and 18 months on Mars, might expose shielded astronauts to roughly 500 to 1,000 MSV. Now, that's because Mars doesn't have an atmosphere, or if it does, it's not much of one. Here on Earth, we have a nice atmosphere that keeps us alive, and it blocks a lot of the sun's rays. The sun is radiation. It radiates, and that's the light and the heat and the energy comes from radiation, right? It's on the electromagnetic spectrum, radiation. Right. So, if you're in space, unshielded by an atmosphere, you're going to be exposed to a significantly higher amount than that. And if you're on Mars, which also the atmosphere is very, very small, I believe, you're going to be exposed to a lot more than on Earth. So you would need protections from it.
Yes.
Yes.
The sun gives off radiation. That we agree on that.
Yes. And a lot of it is shielded by our atmosphere. So when you're in space, unshielded by the atmosphere, you have to take certain precautions to avoid being exposed to too much, cosmic radiation or, rays from the sun or whatever's going on.
Well, if you believe the sun is 93 million miles.
I believe it is. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but I do believe that is a significant distance from us.
Well, I'm just saying through time, it's changed. It's gone from 3 million to 13 million.
Now, how much time? Because as time progresses in science becomes better and better. It does matter, because if we're talking about in 1200 BC, those numbers are going to be a little bit off as opposed to the technology we have today is going to be able to measure it very, very accurately.
Copernicus. I'm talking about the modern astronomers.
I would hesitate to call Copernicus modern, given the fact that when did he die? He was alive 1473 to 1543. That's 500 years ago.
That's the first time that the theories of the spinning ball came into our existence.
By Copernicus.
Newton, Copernicus, all of them. Kepler, all of them. I'm saying they were all Jesuits,
I'm sorry, they were what?
Jesuits.
And I'm just not sure what the relevance of that would be.
Because the God in the Bible makes it clear what this world is. And this is what the Reformation was about. This is the big fight in the Reformation, where the church was trying to go into this Star Trek conception of the world, and the Bible's always said that we're the center of the universe. Everything is centered around us. That's not me talking. This is the Bible talking.
Well, I had an ex-girlfriend that thought she was the center of the universe, but that's provably wrong.
Huh?
I had an ex-girlfriend who thought she was the center of the universe, but I was able to prove her wrong about that.
Well, she is supposed to be the center of your universe.
She didn't deserve it.
But I'm just saying, all these 1500 Jesuit scientists that led to altering of our reality of what the world is.
But you understand that 500 years, you're going to have some pretty big differences in, how things are perceived based on the technological abilities to perceive them and measure them.
Well, we're talking 500 years.
That's a significant amount of time.
They've taken it from 3. It doesn't matter. When science raises its hand and says, I have the answer.
Sure.
And the answer is this. Then that's your answer.
Well, if I'm looking at, well, hold on. If I'm looking at a leaf, let's say my technology is all right. 500 years ago, I have like a magnifying glass. I'm looking at a leaf. I'm going, this thing. It's made up of cells. All right. And then 500 years later, I have an electron scanning microscope and say, this thing is made up of atoms, which are made up of quarks, which are made up of electrons, right? That doesn't mean that I'm wrong because 500 years ago with my magnifying glass, I couldn't see that atoms were a thing.
Paul, do you think today's lasers could shoot 93 million miles?
Absolutely. I think a laser in the vacuum of space is going to go for a significant distance.
There's nothing I could do or say to make any difference. If you think things are 100 million light years away, and we can see them in the sky, if you could put all those zeros behind light years,
okay,
and you think that we have the vision to see that, and I don't care with what optics you have, because I don't need optics to look up in the sky and go, that's the star of Orion, this is the star of Kepler, or whatever they named it. And they say this one's 500 billion light years, and this one is 790 million billion light years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, this what started me, you know, going, this is totally horseshit. Like who light years, when you put that into the equation of miles,
sure,
and
it's a pretty big distance.
You have to,
the distance light can travel over the course of a year, yeah.
Right. Which is greater than a mile.
It's significantly greater than a mile.
Exactly. So when you put the zeros into miles, you got to put this into the common person's head to make it exist to him. So you got to take the light year out of it, and you got to put it into miles. And you're going, that's 100 million, zillion, billion, million, zillion miles away. And this one's 100 billion, zillion, million, trillion, zillion, million, trillion miles away. And you're going like, how the fuck did they?
No, I think I can actually answer that question.
And you have people on your screen going, well, they shot a laser at it.
Well, no, that's different because the laser would take too long to get back. What happens is as the Earth rotates around the sun, I believe I'm correct on this, they take measurements when the Earth is in one position and when the Earth is in a different position. They use, I believe, trigonometry to figure out based on, is it parallax, the word I'm looking for? I did an astronomy course in high
parallax.
School. Something like that. But because the Earth is moving, a significant distance as it goes around the sun, supposedly. I mean, I know that you don't believe the distance is as great as I believe the distance is, but based on the 2 points, they can sort of get that angle and say, all right, so based on its positioning when viewed from here and from here, it must be this distance away. I have a guy who has studied astrophysics. He's studying what's the word? Astrophysics. That's the word. I could bring him in, I believe, if he wanted to explain this better than I can, because it's been a while since I've read up on this stuff. But if we wanted to.
But BB, I don't mind. I stand on my grounds. I'm talking to some scientists.
Sure. I mean, I'm just if you're interested, because I don't think I'm doing a very good job explaining it.
Yeah, but there's the greatest scientist in the world was Nikola Tesla.
I did a pretty good job. Yeah.
Tesla's idea about these people that you speak of today, Einstein being the person of his time, he called them zealots. I mean, they made up and preached what they want you to learn. It didn't make sense to him, the greatest man of science of all time, because Nikola Tesla went out into the world and set up these big Tesla towers and was shooting lightning, all like fireworks to the people.
Right,
And,
testicles, yeah.
Right, and his explaining how power and electromagnetics worked into our universe, which are principles of what we are based on to this day. The remote control, radio waves, electricity, light, all these things go to Nikola Tesla. He wasn't standing in front of a chart. One of the biggest memes on Einstein is he's in one of those university professor classrooms where 100 people sit in there in a stadium, and the gigantic chalkboard, and he has his mathematical equation that only he understands. And and he goes, this is science. It's just this huge equation that is written out, filling up the entire chalkboard. And, he
was able to explain it to other people. I mean, it was people who are familiar with that stuff were like, oh, interesting. It's crazy that you put that together. Well done, you.
Look, I can make a lot of squiggly lines.
Right, but does the scientific community agree with you?
Huh?
But would the scientific community agree with you and go, that makes sense, that's how this all works?
See, that's what you don't know. Not everybody agreed with Einstein back there. Look up Michelson and Morley. Look up the other great scientists of that time. Only people now understand, because he was made to be the greatest scientist, but he didn't do anything. He didn't invent anything. He didn't create anything.
I'm sorry, who didn't invent or create anything?
Einstein.
Well, he came up with the theory. Which mathematical equation that helped a lot of astrophysics do a lot of things. His formula, his information, correct me if I'm wrong, helped create the atomic bomb. Without that and his input, would have been a bit of a struggle.
See, like, BB, I love you, guy. I mean, you're a good guy.
I try to be.
But there is no atomic bomb.
There's no atomic bomb. Well, hold that thought, because we have someone who is familiar with astrophysics, who would like to bring up some topics, and I'd like to bring him into this chat, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
Is that the guy that you did all those videos with? I saw him in the chat yesterday.
I don't think I've done any videos with him. Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. Maybe setting up. I'm not really sure. Matt, hello there. How you doing? I think your microphone might be muted. We're figuring it out as we go. All right. Matt? Well, he's here somewhere. Little pause, I guess, in the discussion. We'll see. Well, while he's figuring it out, I would
Have you ever seen a A-bomb?
Have I ever seen one?
Yes.
Not personally. They tend to keep those pretty well behind locked doors, because they are A-bombs. Well, we use.
No, if you look up the testing of A-bombs, they light them up all over the world. I mean, go look it up for yourself.
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures. I've seen models. I've seen, scale replicas, whatever. I've never personally been in the presence of a real functioning atomic or hydrogen bomb. No, I think most people haven't.
Why not?
Because
They
That
light
is-
them off. I mean, they tell you they light them off all the time. Russia's lighting them off.
Not
They light them off
recently.
on
I
islands.
mean, North Korea has detonated a few, but I have not been
North
near North
Korea's
Korea any time in my
so-called
life.
doesn't have any yet.
Say
And if
again?
North Korea doesn't have any yet.
They've, to my knowledge, detonated a few.
Pull it up. I want to see it.
Well, I mean, they did it in an underground bunker because they have very limited amount of space. I can pull up news articles on it.
Look, when they launched missiles up in the air, their missile technology got better. We saw pictures of it. They made sure those pictures went all over the world to see.
Sure.
They got something. They're going to take 4K digital imagery of it.
Well, it's difficult to film a nuclear blast in an underground bunker. Oh,
hello.
Hello.
Okay.
More audio. All right. This is our resident astrophysicist, whose credentials. I don't believe you have a degree in astrophysics, but you studied
I'm going
it,
to be
right?
going. Back when I was in high school, we had electives for astronomy and such, and we had to take AP classes to get through all those. That we actually had to apply into them.
Now I'm gonna AP being advanced placement, right, for college?
Advanced placement.
All
So
right.
I got college credits for astronomy and the beginning stages of astrophysics. I will be going into schooling for astrophysics and astronomy, and such as cosmology to get into higher fields such as SpaceX and other stuff. For my advancements after the Marine Corps, not important. However, whatever questions you have for space, I can answer that, and I can answer it with factual links and provided evidence that we've used on the many years that we've been looking into the cosmos, starting with the very people, Galileo and Copernicus and Haley and Einstein. All of these people have all studied in the fields of science to present these facts that we are learning on today, to present to technology that we can advance further.
What's your name? Your name is Matt?
Yeah, you can call me Matt.
What's up, Matt?
How are you today?
Not bad.
I'm sorry. I'm a little. I get a little anxious about this topic. It's one of my favorite topics. So give me,
I get it. That's when somebody from that's been your mission for a long time, I would guess.
Looking up in the stars and explaining, how they work, of course.
I moved to Arizona to see the prettiest skies in the world. We have more observatories in Arizona than anywhere else in the world.
The Milky Way, one of the biggest wonders in our, our time, human generation.
Our night skies. And I got a telescope.
I have spent over about over my time about $10,000 into telescopic visuals. So I have my range of telescopes as well. So I wanted you talked about how we measure things as far as this is from stars. That's called stellar parallax. So what that does is what we do is we look at a star, right?
I knew it. I knew it was parallax.
So we're gonna do is we're gonna use Sol. Sol is the name of our sun, in case you had that question.
I know that.
So what we do, we look at it, right? We will see how the parallax, which is what it does is we look at the star and we see how things form as it's a triangle basically. It's two angles that we measure and it makes a triangle, okay? And we use that, and we say, okay. So the distance by this, in the orbit of our, the orbit of Earth, and how long it takes for us to get around this star, and how we can determine is, there's many mathematical, reasonings behind this. If I explain this, we'll be here all day. But to basically say is, we use angles, we use light. And we try to use that in the best way we can, starting with, these age-old astronomers, and we use it by, many many mathematical reasonings. But the best answer is
I mean, you could go x y minus t to the tangent square x, and it's like speaking some ancient hieroglyphic language.
How do you mean?
To make it to a hieroglyphic language. But I'm telling you what Nikola Tesla.
What about Nikola Tesla? Nikola Tesla focused on how to use energy to focus, light source and free energy. You didn't really focus on the measurement of the star and.
Yeah, he understood science.
Oh yes, of course he did. His field of science was to measure free energy that we can use.
Yeah, but he also understood. You're telling me the greatest, smartest man of mankind, and Einstein. Those are Einstein's words.
Okay.
Einstein.
What was Einstein's words?
But Nikola Tesla said Einstein is an idiot. So I'm telling you, each of their perceptions of each other.
I can say anybody's an idiot. Doesn't mean that my viewpoint is right.
Now, did Einstein actually say that?
He didn't use the word idiot. He said that people like Einstein are creating their own version of science.
I'm sorry.
They don't have to prove what their theories are. That's why they stay theories. They're never going to come out.
So, by your definition, what is a theory?
I'm telling you, there's people in the field where you're going right now.
Of course.
These guys are older than me, and they're
for sure way older than me. I'm younger than both of you and Blue over here. So
I'm 55 years old. I'm way older than BB.
Look,
but I'm about to give you this. These guys, like I said, if you're in the field of astrophysics, and it's been on TED Talks. It's been on TED Talks.
Right.
Some of the main.
I don't have a webcam, Dreamer. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, well, just at your own leisure, put on TED Talks and go to Astrophysics Challenging Einstein.
Okay.
It's becoming the normal now, meaning every astrophysicist is calling Einstein's theory of work utter nonsense.
No, they're not. They are not.
Don't listen to me tell you this. Go listen to them. They're on TED Talks in front of 10. You're not speaking to 10,000 people.
Oh, no, I'm not. I am not famous.
You go listen to a man speaking in front of 10,000 people.
Now, look, can you name the scientists specifically that are calling Einstein out?
There you go.
I was going to, but then Matt said he wouldn't be able to have access to it.
Well, I didn't say I wouldn't be able to have access. Now, but before we head on, I am a very open-minded individual. Okay, so I am usually on the basis that if you could prove me wrong, knowledge is everything. Knowledge is complete power to one's individualism. So if you can heighten my belief into certain aspects of these theories, sure.
You'll love this guy, Matt. Theoria, and I wish I
can you type his name out, because if you say a name and it's like Italian, I'm going to butcher it. But let me point it out this way. Well, yes, theory. Sorry, the voice things is a little behind, so we kind of get tongue tied here. So here's the deal, right? You say that a lot of scientists question Einstein. You're not wrong, but they're not calling him crazy. The questioning of general relativity is there, but scientists use it in the ability that way they can understand it. They're not calling Einstein, nuts or clueless or anything of this aspect. In fact, your better, understanding of how he's questioned is you look up Neil deGrasse Tyson. He explains it perfectly. And I can send you, these links.
He's an actor.
He is not an actor. He is a well-acclaimed, well-deserved, well-degreed astrophysicist.
Really?
Yes, sir.
How would I know that?
He's got the credentials for it. I mean, you're listening to me right now. I don't have credentials for any college degree. I'm going to be studying it, but you're asking me about this guy. He's got the credentials.
I'm the smartest man in the world, and I'm writing it on paper. Now it becomes a credential.
Now, hold on. I do want to bring it up. Merb discussed this. So you were saying that we should watch TED Talks. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson has, I believe, given TED Talks.
Yes.
Would that make him more or less credible in your eyes?
So is Bill Gates.
Sure.
On this subject matter of the COVID, the man is a computer person.
Okay.
And he's the leading person talking about vaccines and COVID and
well, he's not doing the research himself. He's getting the research from the people that he's funding to go and find a vaccine. If he's their spokesperson, I don't see a problem with that. Many organizations have spokespeople. They're not necessarily directly involved in what the company is producing or a part of. But if he's the one funding it, he's probably going to be the best at explaining what he is funding, potentially, having received information from the people he's funding as to what exactly his money is going towards. I know if I was a billionaire and I was spending ridiculous amounts of money funding vaccine research, I'd want to know exactly what was being done. So I don't think that he is an unreasonable person to listen to.
Look, so
you take this name down too, Merv. I'm typing it out right now.
Okay.
Is this the guy that you're telling me that to look up? Yeah, and I want to base this based off the comments in the section. No, Einstein wasn't always correct, and that's the thing about science. You're not always going to be correct. There's going to be some way, some form of ability that you're going to be, disproven or proven in another direction. For instance, we always thought the Earth was flat when we first, started walking, on our fucking two legs. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, the Bible says that Earth was made before stars, sun, and the moon. Proven false. The Earth was not made before the sun. So, I mean, it's the matter of, what science advanced over time.
But you're going off of what somebody told you. In Merb's own defense, that's.
But you could prove certain things by the physics and time of how you can measure things of different abilities by math.
I want to wait. Hold on. I want to stop things right here. Hold up. Now you said that he believes it because someone told him. Now you believe that the Earth is flat based on things that are present in the Bible. I believe you use the Bible as a source. Wouldn't that be the same as believing something because someone told you?
One of them, but like I said, every understandable explanation, every culture, not just biblical culture, every culture, the ancient Incas, the ancient Apaches, the Asian culture, South American culture, everybody had a flat universe.
Well, I mean, it's a lot easier to say, hey, I think the Earth is flat because we don't know better than it is to say, well, okay, so we're a globe hurtling through space, orbiting a sun. The sun is part of a solar system with other planets. That solar system is in a galaxy. That galaxy is, rotating around all sorts of things. Black holes exist. There's a lot of stuff that you're not going to know 1,000 years ago.
BB, you have to tell me that. You're not saying you see the sun go above your head. You don't see us go around the sun.
Well, you can prove it through math and science, though.
Yeah, exactly.
No, math is a language, is it not? Math?
Yes.
Okay.
Math is a language.
Okay.
So, we believe math is a universal language. But
right now, I'm speaking in a language, the English language that we all know. So I cannot tell you, BB. I cannot tell you your reality. God gave us 5 senses, whether you believe in a God or not. We have the sense of smell, the sense of seeing, the sense of hearing, tasting, feeling. And these things give us our reality. And we know when we get on a roller coaster. We know when we're on a bus.
Because of acceleration. Not movement, acceleration.
So real quick.
The Greeks actually had a thing about this.
That's not true.
So real quick.
Acceleration.
I fly quite often.
Okay.
I fly quite often. And when you're sitting in an airplane at 600 miles per hour, it's on cruise control. 500 miles or whatever it's going.
Okay.
And we're in that airplane. And I've been in the airplane. Like I said, it's difficult for me to walk. I know walking to the front of the airplane is a lot easier than walking to the back of the airplane.
Okay. Wait, hold on.
I know that through motion, and we're at a fixed motion. And I could feel us moving anyway.
Hey,
if you're sitting on a train, a bus, you know that you're traveling 60 miles per hour. You don't have to look out the window to figure you're going 60 miles per hour. You could close your eyes and feel it. You know when you're in a car, not accelerating to 50 miles per hour, you can feel it. You can feel sitting in a car. You know it's different sitting in a car at 55 miles per hour and sitting like I'm sitting in my chair, going no miles per hour. And we spin at 1,000 miles per hour, and you're going to tell me we have no idea we're doing that?
Well, we do know that we're doing it because science has measured it.
Tell me, and you're about to use math and science.
Well, let me. You know what? Let me use math from 250 BC. Let me do that because if we're going to go way back in time, shadows. Now, Matt, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with the obelisks and the shadows of the earth and Alexandria and so on and whatnot. But there was a Greek scientist whose name escapes me, and he said, all right, if the earth is curved, then if you take a measurement of a shadow at the same time, the shadows are going to be different. You can use math to measure the shadows, the angle that they're at on the earth, and you can figure out what the circumference of the earth is. And I don't know the exact details. I haven't looked into this recently enough. But they basically pretty accurately figured out that the earth, one, was round, and two, its circumference. Within a reasonable degree of accuracy based on the shadows coming from two objects in two different locations at the same time of day. Now, 250 BC, that's over 2,000 years ago. They were aware of this. That's what, 2,270 years ago. So am my math right? I don't know. They knew this. And if they were able to figure that out through the technology of then, I can't imagine with, we have all this technology now. We have computers now. Why wouldn't we be able to do the exact same thing and figure it out just to a better accuracy?
BB, if we knew, his name is, somebody help me out. We call his math, he's a Greek.
There's plenty of those.
Right. What form of math do we use?
I'm sure. Let me list some. Socrates. He's kind of mad.
No.
All right, I'm gonna start listing off names.
He wasn't mad, was he?
Archimedes.
Oh, Archimedes.
You sure?
He had a pretty big.
Archimedes. Archimedes was.
Pythagoras.
Okay.
Pythagoras. Yes, Pythagoras.
There you go.
Just naming Greek names. I have no idea what I'm
talking
about.
I'll just start naming Greek names out. Yeah, like one of them is eventually going to be it.
We'll get there eventually. Yeah.
But
the chat's just going ham at it right now.
Oh yeah, they're just listing.
But if we knew it back then, Pythagorean was never able to set it in stone. It was another. Go look this up yourself. You could, like I said, in the school system didn't even go in UK, Russia, and America did not go away from flat earth until 1910, 1920. There were a couple cases of educators trying to bring it into the school system that got threatened to be put in prison?
I don't know that that's true. I would love a source on that, though.
Go look it up.
I keep trying to look up things that you're sending me and not finding what you're saying. If you're able to find me a source, I would love to review it.
I want to ask. Okay, so before we start really getting into this, what is your viewpoints? Do you believe the Earth orbits the sun, or the sun orbits the Earth? What, because
the Bible says the Earth doesn't move, and listen, and my eyes, and my feeling, my balance.
You're feeling.
I know I'm not moving right now.
You're not gonna feel it. You will feel it if the Earth stops. But
oh boy, would you
feel it now? But
the Earth stopped a long time ago, way before.
Wait. So was the Earth moving, or was the Earth not moving? Because now you're saying it was moving, but it stopped. I'm just trying to keep things straight.
I'm just saying, my existence, I've never known the Earth to move.
You're not gonna feel it.
Now,
you won't.
I do want to address that using the Bible as a source is exactly what you were saying before. This person told you.
My five senses, my eyes. That's why I always say, BB, did you see the A-bomb? Have you seen the A-bomb?
I've seen videos.
Yes, documentary when we dropped them on Japan.
I've not been in the personal presence of a nuclear explosion. No.
But okay, so real quick before we move on,
we've seen a video footage of it, did we not?
Yes, we've seen the video.
There's plenty of video footage.
There's only one famous footage that.
No, there's a lot of famous footage.
Also, real quick,
you'll be surprised that there's not.
I think I will not be, but I'm willing to take that chance. Let's look up some atomic explosion videos.
So real quick, while you look up the atomic bombs, right? I want to just point out, Repo made a good point whether he knew so or not. You can actually feel the Earth move. It's called an earthquake.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Continental, when it shifts, that is the Earth moving. But however,
that's not what we're talking. That's not
what we're talking about. I just want to throw that out there as a little fun, jab.
cheeky.
But Matt, how do we know the earthquake is taking place? Does your weatherman have to call you? Does your science teacher call you, Matt?
San Andreas fault.
No,
no. He's wondering if do we know because we feel it, or
you're not answering.
Okay. So you're asking how we know that is an earthquake?
No, how do you know?
No, the earthquake was just a cheeky thing. It actually isn't terribly relevant to what we're talking about.
I was just making a jab.
Well, yeah.
No, but just answer the question. How
you can feel it, but that comes down to acceleration, momentum.
How, BB?
Seismic measurements.
Yeah.
No.
So So again, it comes down to acceleration and momentum, right? You feel a change in acceleration. If you're going at constant speed, you're not really going to notice it, absent things like wind hitting you.
You've ever been on an airplane before?
I've been on an airplane.
Okay,
many times.
Going 500 miles per hour.
If I'm going at a constant speed, I'm not going to notice the speed I'm going at.
I said, can you feel going 500 miles per hour, BB?
Negative. I cannot feel that. If I felt going 500 miles an hour, I'd be flattened.
You're not.
I would be flat, like supposedly the Earth is.
So look here. Here's the thing, right? Okay, so when you're flying, right? An average plane flies at what?
I'd say about 500
miles an hour. Okay, that's half of the speed of the Earth's rotation. Theoretically, the Earth rotates at about 1,000 miles an hour. And we do have aircraft that do fly faster than that. So we are able to go faster than the Earth's rotation. That is possible. However, I want to ask you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think the Earth's not moving? Is it strictly because the Bible told you to, or so? Or
I think it's because you can't feel it.
Because you can't feel it. Okay, so when you're in a car, you're traveling at 55 miles an hour. Do you feel it?
Yes.
How?
The vibrations. I feel.
Does the Earth vibrate while it moves through space?
Huh?
Do you feel the Earth?
There is no vibration through space. It's a vacuum.
Listen, I feel it because if I try to lean forward, going 55, 60 miles per hour, I have to use a lot more effort than if I'm going 0 miles per hour. And I know how to test things like that.
Okay. So let me ask you something. When you come to a complete stop, say you hit a wall, how fast are you going to travel right into that wall?
Whatever Newton's laws.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said whatever Newton's laws of motion are.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Newton was one of the guys who had a big deal about not feeling things if you're not accelerating, right? An object in motion tends to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force, so on.
There you go.
Whatnot. Yeah. Did I beat you to it?
I subscribe to that. So,
Sure.
So then you subscribe to the fact that the Earth does rotate.
Tell me where he says that when you're in motion, you can't feel it, BB. I didn't hear that in there. And I don't remember seeing anything written by Newton where he said, and you're not going to feel it.
So here's the thing. All right. I'm trying to apply this the best way I can right now. By your theory, because the Bible said so, right? The Earth would be flat, correct? In that we do not move, and that everything moves around us, right?
I used the Bible as
a reference,
as a source,
reference.
Many sources.
Okay, so
my reality of what I believe always comes through.
Hold on.
Vision, my hearing, my smelling. I gotta see it. I gotta taste it.
Right. Okay. I understand.
Wait, so if you can't see it, it doesn't exist to you, right?
Most likely, that's kind of what we've been talking about for a couple of days, BB.
Sure, no. I'm just confirming because one of the things people say is God exists, but we can't see or detect him. I'm just throwing it out there.
Right.
So,
and I have faith in God.
Okay, but
fine.
What if we had faith in acceleration, or the fact that the Earth is round? Is that not
Science
similar?
has to be seen, repeated, proven, and tested. That's what the principles of science says. Look it up.
Yes, and
you have to repeat and test.
Right, and the things we're talking about have been repeated and tested.
So real quick, all right. So on that whole basis, right? I want to point out, and I'm gonna ask you a question. I want your honest, answer. On all parts of the globe, where does the sun rise and then set?
The sun goes above us like a dinner plate. It never rises and never sets.
Well, a fun fact, the sun rises on the east and sets on the west in the northern hemisphere, rises on the west, sets on the east in the southern hemisphere. Do you know why?
I just said it never goes down. We're not a ball.
Well,
and this goes to BB's theory with the Pythagorean theory. Shadows work on a flat earth, BB, and that's been proven. So, it works on a model of a globe earth, and it works on the model of a flat earth.
Okay.
That's the same picture from the 50s, BB.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Wait.
So, it was more so of a... Okay. I am going to change my flux detector.
From the 50s, BB.
Okay. That's when we did most of our atomic tests, yes.
1950.
Sure.
A-bombs.
Yeah, we haven't tested many of them recently because we have quite a few of them. We know how they work.
Plug that in. Put A-bomb testing. There's a calendar.
Okay. Well, you just said there's one piece of famous footage, and there's footage after footage in this video. That's footage.
If that looks accurate footage to you,
that looks like an atomic bomb to me.
That looks like a scientist's experiment.
That looks like an atomic bomb. Well, I guess you could say that was just a really big explosion on that one. That looks like an atomic bomb to me.
That looks like an explosion, BB.
That looks like an atomic explosion to me. That looks like a pretty significant size of an explosion. And I've blown things up. I know a thing or two about explosions.
1950 footage. Do you know we have 4K film?
Well, he did in 1950.
Show the pores inside your cheek.
I don't remember hearing about 4K cameras in 1950 though.
No, I'm saying the world says it blows up an A-bomb about twice a month. Go! Don't take my word for it.
All right, what list of atomic explosions? I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I spelled that right.
Atomic plot.
All right, let me see. List of nuclear weapons, list of military nuclear accidents, nuclear weapons testing. Wikipedia, my dear friend, how do you do? All right, now obviously, fact check this at your own on your own time. Do we have a date? We got January 1960. We got March 1995, July 2nd, 1997, September 18th, 1997. I mean, so far I'm not seeing any that are tested, multiple times in 1 month, but we haven't seen all of them. 1998, 1998, 1999, 1999, 1999, 2000, 2000, 2000, 2000, 2000, 2000. All of these are in separate months. 2001, 2001, 2002, 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2010, 2010, 2011, 2012. I'm not seeing twice a month. 2014, question mark, 2015, 2017 in Nevada test site is, well, let's just check on this, see what I'm actually reading off of. These are subcritical tests. Now, I'm no expert, so I don't know what that means. Let's look at, see if we can find actual tests. Worldwide nuclear testing, 1945, 2018.
This would be fun to show your audience, BB.
What's that?
This would be fun to show your audience as we
by all means.
It's called a time-lapse map of every nuclear explosion since 1945.
Time-lapse what?
Time-lapse map of every nuclear.
Since 1945. Okay, I got it.
All right, it's a 14-minute video I'm seeing here.
I'm linking it. I'm linking into the chat so everybody has it.
It's gonna look like a that video game. I forget what's that. Oh,
I
you don't need the sound on it. You're just gonna see the lights all over the world.
Yep.
Everybody lighting off their bombs.
Well, sure, and I'm going to try to fast forward. Okay, a lot of testing in Russia in, I don't know what date that is.
It gives you the year. The year stays there, and you see.
Oh, that's just
not
total.
All one day.
All right, hold up. Let me go back because this is long. All right, so 1996.
Just let it play while we can continue to talk.
All right, yeah, I'm letting it play. We're in 1997. I haven't seen this.
It's going to be lighting all over the place.
Yeah, no. Let me. We're at 1990. Was it 7 or 1? I think it's a 7. And nothing in 1997. We're in 1998. Is it what that? Turkey detonates 2 of them in 1998 for the entire year.
You see the lights go out. You see it's over land.
Yeah, I'm seeing in 1998, 2 went off, and the date has gone away now. So now it's going to show all of them from 1945 to 1998. This only goes till 1998.
Okay.
And I'm not seeing the numbers you're seeing.
That's just this video. Probably not that old, or is just as old.
This video is from 2010, so they've had 12 years to get the rest of them up there. Unless, of course, there haven't been any major nuclear tests between 1998 and 2010.
Look, those numbers at the top don't lie, BB.
You're right. Look, at 1945, 1948.
All the time in 1998, 97, 96.
All right, no, give me a date. We'll check that date, and I'll tell you exactly how many, according to this video, were detonated. According to this video.
Look at that number
Okay.
By America. Forget the other.
By America, 960. That's total since 1945. Total since 1945, 960 were detonated.
Okay, I need to see. I only have one video from the 1950s, and you just played different versions of it.
No, they're different videos.
That's one video out of that 960. You think
No, there were a lot of videos. There were a lot of videos of different explosions, of different detonations.
It's the one in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, that is one of them. That is one single.
Right, and the one where the house.
That is a classic one. Yes, that is one of many.
That's it.
Okay, no, there are more detonations than just those two.
You didn't show us proof of that.
I showed a video of a whole bunch of different detonations. Let's look this up again.
Look, I looked at that video 100,000 times. Baby.
That is a lot of times. I doubt the numbers of that.
It shows the trees go sideways. It's that same video.
All right, here's a video of
anything in color.
No, I showed stuff in color.
Let's see it.
Let's look at the largest nuclear explosions in history. It's playing right now. There's one. Let's see. There's a give it a second. Here's going to be a second one. That's a different explosion. There's a third one. We can clearly see it's a different explosion. That's a very clearly different. The other one didn't have those rings around it. See, check that. This one's just a circle. This one's got rings around it.
The same film.
Different one. Hold up. This is a completely different location. We got water here. Hey, that's a different explosion.
That's the same document.
It is not the same. Yeah, well, I'm sure it's all in the same video. They're different explosions.
100 times.
You can tell. You can look at the shapes of them, and they're clearly different. All right, trees going kablooey, buildings going. All right, there's another one. I mean, another explosion, another one, another one. Wait, the other one was over water. This one's not over water, is it?
The last two Godzilla movies. You can add 2 from those.
I'm sorry, what?
Godzilla.
What about Godzilla?
The last 2 Godzilla movies.
Yes, Godzilla is a fictional character, and the movies
they
are
have
works of fiction.
The only thing you're showing me is more fiction, BB.
I sincerely doubt that.
They look the same as when Hollywood does it with Godzilla. That's not proof.
Then what would be proof?
Huh?
So nothing would be proof then. There is no conceivable proof that can be. So you can't prove that this isn't true though.
Huh?
You can't prove that this is not real though. Simply because Hollywood has gotten good at special effects. That's what Hollywood does, is special effects.
That's not good special effects to me. If you want to believe that looks like an overexposure light. That little mushroom thing you keep showing.
That looks like an overexposure light right there.
Sorry.
Let's look at another one. That doesn't look like an overexposed light to me. Nope. That looks pretty convincing. I would struggle to think of how this was not real. There's another one. Oh,
so
imagine faking that in the '60s.
So we're basing atomic explosions on cinematography and animations back in those days.
Yeah, I sincerely doubt that would be.
This film looks like this 1950s footage.
Right.
So I mean. You could get that footage with TNT, all type of special effects.
I just want to confirm you could get that with TNT once it catches up.
That's a lot of TNT.
Oh, that's a lot of TNT.
That's a lot of TNT.
I would say that's in the realm of megatons
real
of TNT.
Quick, I don't know if I'm going to say her name right. Sierra Marie is stating that on Google Earth you can actually look up the craters in the test sites, which I have found. It's not that far. I think it's a Nevada test site. It's not that far from Lake, actually.
Well,
they showed us this film in the 50s.
Right.
I want to see 1998, the last year we saw on that video. I want to see some high def.
High def? When was high def?
Hollywood does. Hollywood knows how to
high def.
You know how many movies Hollywood has lit off a nuclear bomb? You think they lit them off, or you think they filmed one going off?
Well, I know in testing they filmed a bunch of them. Let me look up some Russian nuclear testing video.
1998. What is it? 1998 atomic testing or nuclear testing?
Oh, Russia tests new nuclear missile. Here's a video. Oh, that's Putin. So it must be relatively. Let's see. Oh, maybe they're not going to. Oh, there's.
So you're talking about. I can't fuck. Excuse my language. I can't say this.
Whoa, hey.
Indian. I'm sorry. No,
I don't tell you. Whatever.
Pokhran 2, which is the last stated nuclear test. It was conducted by India at the Indian Army Pokhran test range in May 1998. It was the second instance of nuclear testing conducted by India.
Show me some. Have you seen?
Now, here's a thought.
Have you seen HD Earth? I think that's what it's called. I mean, you see some of the most visual things of our world, but just on this flat Earth, you see schools of fish, killer whales, up close and personal.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen this. Manta rays, sea rays, zebras on the plain, crystal, some of the most beautiful sights of our Earth you've ever seen in the world.
Right.
But you would think, like, shit, our greatest power is the nuclear bomb. Let's take some high def footage of it. Because
in 1998, we have cameras that were. Now, I have footage that I'm playing right now of the Moab, which is mother of all bombs. It's the largest non-nuclear bomb that's ever been detonated.
Yeah,
this is a 2003 test. So we can look at the footage right now and see that it's not high def and it does not look like a nuclear explosion.
I mean, we dropped one on ISIS. So
we did drop one on ISIS. That looks completely different than what we saw. Completely different.
Why'd you stop it?
Hold on, leave it a second to catch up. Completely different.
Why?
That's the largest non-nuclear bomb ever dropped. And it does not look like what we saw with the nuclear ones.
You showed us some still footage. This thing is growing, and it's going to turn into that thing you showed us pictures of.
It
looks like nuclear.
It does. It looks nothing like a nuclear. The way that the bright white flash, the way that the atmosphere goes away from it. No, you get a big enough explosion, it can create a type of mushroom, but not nearly the same as a nuclear explosion.
There's a lot of
behind it, BB. You could put dancing girls behind it if you want to. What are you talking about? A large flash?
So I don't know what I just clicked on. We're gonna what did I just?
I think a film editor could put some dancing girls behind that, and you're gonna be like, "Shit, nuclear bombs have dancing girls in them, Matt."
Now, hold on.
But
that's not what we have. That's not what we have. You could do a lot of things. It's not what we have.
Now that would be quite the.
I'd watch that footage.
Quite the spectacle, but let's let's take the accounts of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, these people their shadows were burnt into the ground by this bomb.
If you want to bleed,
you're telling me the Moab can do that, or anything that we have in our arsenal?
Not.
Matt, I'm telling you, there was a news blockout of Japan.
Well, that seems awfully convenient.
15 days after the so-called A-bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
We have videos of the droppings.
We actually do, don't we?
I'm getting them right now. I'm sending it to
Like I said, I could put some dancing girls.
Lou, I'm sending the link right now.
Oh, please do. Let's watch it. I haven't seen it in a while. All right, let me.
I'm gonna give you a video that you should watch.
Oh, go ahead. Like I said, my mind is.
This guy, he's a professor of history. He doesn't sit there and say the A-bombs are fake, nuclear missiles are fake. That's not in his expertise. What he tells you is that there was a national news media blackout of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And he has had testimonials. He has done testimonials, news articles of the people saying there was 5,000 planes filmed flying over Hiroshima, because that was the first bomb. the night before it was firebombed the next day.
Yeah, we did firebomb Japan, yes.
And the American media does what is very famous for. I keep telling you, they blocked out the news. Everybody else says we were running from bombs, regular size bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the testimony of the people of Japan. This guy went and interviewed children during the time of that era, and he's a historian. He said, I can't tell you if A-bombs are real or not. I'm telling you, Nagasaki and Hiroshima was firebombed. And it was used to end the war.
If it was firebombed, it was also bombed with atomic bombs. Maybe both. All right, I'm gonna show this video.
If you got one bomb that levels a city, why send in 500 or how many ever fighter planes to drop thousands of bombs?
Well, that's assuming they firebombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Assuming they firebombed that. I've never heard of that. I know they firebombed Tokyo, I believe. But that's a good question. Why would they firebomb it? Because that doesn't seem like they need to if they're dropping an atomic bomb on it. According to your unnamed source, they did. Now, I want to show this video.
I could bring him up if you want to. All you got to do is put in your search. Professor says, or historian says, the A-bomb didn't happen. He comes right up.
Okay, well, I feel like we're a little off topic.
Because he doesn't say it's fake. He just says they firebombed it.
Okay, well, that doesn't exactly say that they didn't drop a bomb on there, does it?
During the date and time that they said they dropped the A-bomb, Japan was firebombed. Testimonies from the people and the history of the people that were there, the damage looked very similar to Tokyo.
All the testimony I've seen was that an atomic bomb was dropped from the people that were there.
You only got testimony 15 days after it happened, BB.
Okay, so the people that were there and blinded by the explosion and received radiation damage have given their testimony.
They got burned. They were used
that is not what anything has ever said ever that I've ever seen in my life. And I consider myself a bit of an amateur historian of World War II.
BB, do you think that history is going to say we lied to y'all about everything? We never.
I have a newspaper that says Hiroshima was bombed from literally days after it happened. So if there's a media blackout, they didn't do a very good job. I could find that newspaper right now, and I can hold it up to the camera. It would take me a couple minutes to grab it, but I can get that newspaper and show it to you from 1940 whenever. 1945.
BB.
Yeah.
You're not going to show me. Tokyo has its own papers that it gives to the citizens of Tokyo.
These were American papers.
Okay,
I have one that says Hiroshima bombed.
Yes, America was at home.
Okay, so there obviously wasn't a media blackout. If we had it literally days afterwards, if not the day afterwards.
Yeah, we told everybody we A-bombed them.
And where's the media blackout? Do you think that maybe there wasn't much media coming out of Nagasaki because an atomic bomb had been dropped on it? Do you think that might be the reason? I'll tell you what right now, if Seattle was bombed, I'm pretty sure the Seattle Post would stop producing newspapers for a little bit.
No, BB, you're not listening.
Do you think that the local Seattle newspaper would continue producing newspapers if an atomic bomb was dropped in the city?
The next city over would produce the papers. And they'd be talking about it.
And it was being talked about.
They'd have reporters on the ground talking about it.
Okay. And
there was none of that making it from Japan to America. It didn't make it from Japan to the UK. It didn't make it from Japan to Australia. Japan got its newspapers. There was no media coming for 15. This is a scholar history professor. Listen to him tell you that. But it's a long video, so just
I can't watch. I mean, we don't have much time. I'm trying
saying
to wrap
on
this
your
up.
own time, BB. Just before you go to bed tonight, just listen to what this. Oh, you never look for this. He's not a fake professor.
Mm-hmm.
He's an acclaimed professor. He's been on TED Talks.
Okay.
I'm looking him up.
Please throw him my way. I'm looking forward to it.
Like I said, he's an old history professor.
All right.
Like
August 10th, 1945, the Guardian, which is a London newspaper, says that 2 atomic bombs were dropped. That's a British newspaper.
Huh?
A British newspaper on August 10th confirmed that 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Japan. Hold on, I'm pulling that out.
All the papers said it here, BB.
No, England's not here. England's Europe. You're saying that no one else knew about this except for...
I said there was no news. Listen, hear me up. For 15 days.
Okay.
They don't lie that there's a media blackout. You could go look at the media blackout around Japan. That means 2 days after it happened, when the reporters were going around Hiroshima going, any Japanese name, Mrs. Ho, you lived through this. What happened? Little bombs were falling everywhere, as far as the eye could see. You mean there wasn't no giant light? No, who told you that?
All right.
That's what I'm telling you, BB. In
America, on that?
UK, and Australia couldn't see Mrs. Ho go. There was just like
oh my!
They did in Japan, in Hong Kong. They did just little bombs falling from.
No. I'm just saying. Look, I'm just saying. You said there was a media blackout of 15 days, but here in England,
to drop the A bomb, Mrs. Ho. Yeah, there's planes everywhere, hundreds of them.
Okay.
I must compliment your acting.
That was amazing. Now, but here's the thing. You're saying that there was a media blackout. Now, hold up. Wait. You're saying there was a media blackout of 15 days. However, 5 days after the bomb was dropped, we have a newspaper article from England saying, nope, atomic bomb has been dropped. You're saying that Australia didn't know, despite the fact that Australia was part of the...
BB, just... Do I always have to bring up the Area 51 thing?
No, what does Area 51 have to do with this?
Because you're not listening to me.
What does Area 51 have to do with the atomic bomb?
Wait.
There was no news coming out of Japan, meaning you
because atomic bombs have been dropped on it. Of course, they're going to be like, hold on a second. We got a problem here. We got to address this first. Stop the presses. We got to address some atomic bombs being dropped on our country. Now, you're claiming that there was a media blackout. I'd like to see proof of a media blackout. If you can find me that real quick, I'd love to see it, and I will review it.
I do want to know what Area 51 has to do with the bombs that dropped on Hiroshima, being that Area 51 wasn't here until the 50s.
Media blackout.
Matt, BB just doesn't listen to you. He doesn't listen to the other side.
Wait, what?
Because everything what you're saying contradicts every single thing I've ever learned ever. And excuse me if I'm going to be a little hesitant to believe it without hard evidence.
I get that.
Bombing of Nagasaki. All right.
I'm having a hard
media blackout. Yes. Okay, hold on. Media blackout of Japan. All right. Reading Wikipedia again.
The guy's name is Ward Wilson. The Myth of Hiroshima is his book that he put out. And he has a 25, 30-minute documentary. I've seen it 100 times. He talks about all the news articles that never made it to Newsweek.
Okay. Now, I will agree with you. I'm seeing this thing right here. Let me pull it up. It's that Japan did do a lot of media blackout after the bombings. Now, I assume it's because they didn't want people to know that they were absolutely boned because the enemy now has atomic bombs.
Tonight, you get with me tomorrow or whenever, BB.
Uh-huh.
Go listen to Ward Wilson tonight before you go to bed. He's a good listener.
What was the guy's name?
Ward Wilson, The Myth of Hiroshima.
All right.
I mean, he's a clean history professor, you know.
Okay.
Up in age, he doesn't remind you of the tinfoil types. You know, he's seen, you know, he's been on stages before talking to his counterparts. So,
what did Ward Wilson say?
He said that the bombings of the atomic... Okay, Wilson is best known for his argument that the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki did not force Japan's surrender, a prevalent argument which some have recently come to challenge. That doesn't say that he is saying that the atomic bombs were not dropped, just that they didn't surrender because of that.
But you got to listen to his whole... He wrote a book on it.
Okay, many people have written books on many things.
What book?
But he's mostly known for that. He's a historian. Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, all right.
He's probably written books on the rise and fall of Rome.
So if I wrote a book and said that the bombings did happen, does that make me as credible or?
Listen.
All right. Wait. We got something by Ward Wilson.
He talks about his interviews with the family members that lived there. The testimonies of the people, because of the blackout.
All right.
The testimonies of the people talking about the sky was just full of airplanes. Well, we know the film you're talking about shows one bomber dropping that A-bomb. There was no other planes in the sky. Maybe a squadron of fighters to protect it.
Hey, Blue, I'll be right back.
The sky was full of airplanes.
Well, it was a world war. I'm sure there were bombs being dropped from airplanes, but I believe 2 of them were dropping atomic bombs, or at least 1.
Why?
All right, I have an article by our boy Ward here, and he says that the U.S. Army Air Force bombs Hiroshima with a nuclear weapon on August 6th. 3 days later, they bombed Nagasaki with another, and on the next day, the Japanese signaled their intention to surrender. One can hardly blame American newspapers for running headlines like "Peace in the Pacific, our bombs did it." All right, so he's saying, yes, the bombs were dropped here from his own article that he wrote in 2013. However, he seems to then say it wasn't the bombs, it was pressure from Russia. So the idea wasn't that the bombs weren't dropped, is that other things also contributed to the surrender of Japan. He's saying that the bombs were dropped, but Japan didn't surrender solely because nuclear bombs were detonated on them. Now, I believe that America planned on dropping 12 nuclear bombs on Japan if necessary. If I remember correctly, those are the numbers. The guy that you're saying says that bombs were not dropped. Says that bombs were not dropped, but they may not be the sole reason that Japan surrendered. This is his article that I'm reading from. I'm reading literally his article, foreignpolicy.com. The bomb didn't beat Japan, Stalin did. That's his article.
That's I see
the person that you are citing. The person you are citing is saying that the bombs were dropped, but they may not have been the reason Japan surrendered.
Baby, just watch his little half-hour.
I'm reading an article he wrote. Did his opinions change since then, or is this article come after that?
Read the words that come out of his mouth.
I'm reading the words that came out of his fingers that he typed.
He doesn't say one thing or the next. All he tells you is what hundreds of Japanese people said during the blackout.
Okay, and they may have said that, but he is not denying that nuclear bombs were dropped. He's literally saying that they were dropped in this article.
He's a bomber, and he doesn't know anything about nuclear bombs. He can never.
So is he an expert or he is not an expert on this? Is he a source of knowledge or is he not? Because now that the guy that you presented as an expert in whatever, as a historian, is debating what you're saying.
What he tells you is what the eyewitnesses said.
And I'm not disputing that. I'm saying that this guy that you're saying is saying, look, they didn't see bombs dropped, is saying that bombs were dropped. Nuclear bombs, 2 of them.
No.
This is literally the article I'm reading right now.
I don't care what he puts in the argument. I say what comes out of his mouth. I watched him on several interviews in several places, on several platforms.
I need that.
Go listen to that story. He does not say the new. I don't care what that article says.
So he can't be trusted because he's giving two different opinions on something. He's giving in one thing he's saying something happened, and one thing he's saying another thing happened. So he obviously can't be trusted because he's saying two different things. He's disagreeing with himself. So how do we trust which one it is? How do we trust which one it is? Yours, just because you agree with it better, or mine because I'm literally reading it right now. So either you're wrong. No, hold up. Either you're wrong and he does say the bombs were dropped, or he's saying two different things and he is not a good source because he can't be trusted.
He was not there.
Then how is he a source? How is he the person that you're relying on as being the expert?
Historian. And
as a historian, he's saying bombs were dropped, nuclear bombs.
What the people at Hiroshima said.
And that's great. And here he is saying that nuclear bombs were dropped. Those aren't mutually exclusive.
If they dropped or didn't drop.
You're saying that they were not dropped, that nuclear bombs do not exist.
I'm telling you, he says that they weren't used at Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
And where were they used?
I have the article up that is written by him where he says that the bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm reading it right now.
People in the chat room, BB ain't gonna listen.
I have the article up.
Listen to Ward Wilson. What comes
this
out
is
of
Ward
mouth.
Wilson.
I don't know.
This is him. He's right there.
Wait, can we make a poll in the chat? See what the people think?
I don't know how to make a poll in the chat.
No, just message.
Hold on. If we want to ask the chat.
You got to go watch the 25-minute video.
Why? When I can read an article that he wrote. So either you're wrong or he's not a source that can be trusted because his stuff is changing.
I mean, if we're going to watch a video on a guy saying that the atomic bombs weren't dropped and then we can actually see a video of the bomb being dropped, I mean, who do we believe? Video that actually shows the bomb being dropped? Or?
We have an article he wrote that said bombs were dropped. We have actual testimony that I've seen that says the bombs were dropped from the Japanese. We have articles from around the world saying the bomb was dropped. And we have confirmed there was a media blackout in Japan. But nuclear bombs were dropped on them. I'm sure they didn't want morale to drop.
That's fine for all of y'all. But what Mrs. Ho tells me, with a sky full of bombing airplanes and little bombs dropping all over the place, she's the eyewitness. Japan had to say whatever they are in their peace agreement. She's the testimony, and that's what this guy did. Because he didn't just get Mrs. Ho. He got Mrs. Wan, Mr. Ho, Mr. Wan. This guy has hundreds of articles of the people that lived through the A-bomb testing, and he has their story. And they're the most credible. There ain't nobody more credible than the eyewitness. And you don't have no footage of half of Hiroshima going up. Because like you said,
yes, we do. We have the footage of it being dropped.
On the ground with their best camera footage of that day, taking pictures of it. Because you could see other bombings in World War II.
Yes.
Their A-bomb would have had pictures from the south of the city, north of the city, east of the city, west of the city.
I'll tell you what, if my city is being bombed by an atomic bomb, I'm going to spend a lot more time running to shelter than taking photos because I would like to live through it. And cameras were a lot less prevalent then than they are today.
There was people that lived that were said to be Jews. You trust Jews, don't you?
I trust people. I don't think religion really factors strongly into it.
Well, there was a synagogue right there. Three famous Jews were said to be less than a block from where the A-bomb landed.
Now, was it actually less than a block?
Their synagogue was still there.
I'm going to need a citation on that. I'm going to need a source on that.
Yeah, just the survivors of Hiroshima. They come up.
Yeah, I'm not finding that at all. I'm literally searching it.
BB, your homework is to go listen to Ward. What's his name? Wilson. Whatever.
Right. Well, that's all right. Well, in that case, I do need to start winding this down because we've been doing this for a while, and I do have things I need to do today. But I'll be sure to try to find that video.
And I tried to find that main one that I still think that Utah video. Did you ended up listening to the guy Merv called the fake lawyer?
Okay, I'll look into that.
I'm just saying it's overreach. They got the bill thrown out of court anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Sure.
They're gonna sneak it back through. It's probably going through in the state where you live. You just don't know about it.
All right. Well, I really do have to start winding this down.
All right,
I think in the future we might have to do this again because I actually have had a lot of fun talking to you about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Astrophysics bombed Japan. That's why one of them.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in.
Good meeting you, Matt.
Yeah, Popcorn. Always great to talk to you.
If you're on Discord, and you want to continue your debate with me against, space science and Earth science, by all means.
Who's just Merv's Discord?
No.
This is my Discord. The Blue Bacon.
Hey, send me a link on that thread we were in, BB.
You got it. Let me.
Yeah, I'll come on there and shoot the shit.
All right, yeah. Let me. Yeah, I'll send you that. I'll send you that link. And for those of you in the chat that have made this far, let me see if I can drop that in the chat as well.
Because sometimes, if I get a direct link, I could get there.
Gotcha.
Sorry for that loud noise.
All right. So I'm gonna hang up on y'all. It's been fun. We should do this again. One of these days, when I have some time, I think we could put something together again with a topic.
Well,
we shall see.
I would love to do a stream on the paranormal, like you've been talking about.
Oh yeah, no, we should. You know what? When I started up this stream, when I thought that I was streaming and I wasn't, I was having a conversation with all of you about doing paranormal shenanigans, and of course none of you heard it because when I clicked start stream, it didn't start, and I stupidly, and I will admit that 100%, did not realize it. A good solid amount of time where it didn't happen. So. All right, I'm going to hang up on you guys. Thank you so much for being part of this. And
don't worry, next time I'll change my fire.
There you go.
Alarm. So,
all right.
So
see you
everybody
guys.
in chat's like, yeah, change it. All right. All right. I'll catch y'all later.
Oh, goodness. That was fun. How's everyone doing? I got a little heated there. How long have we been doing this for? How long has it been going? Let's see. Oh, people donated money. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Those of you who thought that was a good idea. You were wrong, by the way. I'm just kidding. Where am I? How long has this been going on? Too long, probably. Whew. All right. Let me pull chat back up. I gotta calm myself down a little bit. All right. Oh, we have fun here. Now I will say, okay. So some of you are like, "Wow, you're so patient." I try to be. And it actually works against me when I talk about police officers because I want to assume that all police officers have the same amount of patience that I do, which is absolutely not true. I wish they did. And so when people are like, "Oh, police officers, evil," I'm like, nah, we are fine. But there are times where people act in ways that I would not act, and it catches me by surprise. It does work against me sometimes in that sense. And there are times I do need to be a little more aggressive. Yes, I probably should have let him a little bit better, but I was enjoying listening to him say things so much. I couldn't. I had to hear it. It was amazing. It's only 2 hours. Feels like a lifetime. We might have to get him back in here sometime because that was a thing. That was, I think we all learned a thing or two. I definitely have some homework. Whether or not it will convince me anything, We shall see. I don't want to predict the future, but I have some doubts. I'm sure some of you saw that coming. Whew. But yeah. Any questions before I get out of here? Because I've been doing this for a while, and I need to drink something because my throat is it's getting a little sore here. I got to make a super edit of this, just of all the best moments. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be a good time. I might do that. Because this is a long time to watch. Like, I wouldn't recommend anyone watching this after the fact. Because you're going to be like, nope, I can't handle this anymore. Maybe. I don't know. But, I don't even know. Like, hey, how did we get to atomic bombs? I wish I remembered. That... I don't know. I don't know how we got there. But I'm the kind of guy that will go off on tangents, so I can't fault him for going off on tangents, because I enjoyed it immensely. I like the tangents. Although in the beginning, we did keep it on topic, more or less. Unfortunately, he was not able to share the videos that he wanted to share, and there was a bit of waiting. Maybe in the future, he'll find the videos, and we can discuss it. At least we didn't talk about grinded up babies, I believe is the phrase he used yesterday. Yeah, there was... That was fun. I should make this a regular thing. Oh. Can make like a could make a song about this where you auto-tune it. That would be fun. Oh, I should learn how to do that. I bet I could make that. Can I make that happen? Do I know enough how to do? Oh, I bet I could. Oh, that's tempting. I'm amazed you guys stuck around, those of you who did. Applause to you. I had to. I'm running this thing. I have to stick around. I'm like shaking a little bit. I'm trying to control myself. There were times I started to lose it near the end there when he was like, that source doesn't count, even though it's my source. But he's saying things I disagree with, so it doesn't count. I don't know, man. I don't know. Any questions before I get out of here? I don't think Beware Mouse would take me on. I hear that I don't think he has much to say, really. My understanding from people I've talked to about it is that he only lets people onto his stream, and then he just kicks them off when he doesn't like what they're saying. Whereas I'd rather have them on my stream so that doesn't happen, because I like to have the upper hand. Obviously, that would make sense to desire the upper hand in things. Yeah. Any news on DeWitt? I haven't come up with anything recent. I still have to release the rest of his interview. I'll try to make some of that happen. We'll see. I gotta spread it out now, though. No, it's just me being lazy because of the audio issues and fixing those. Yeah. He does go on panels. Oh, we might have to try that. I enjoy doing that. I probably do need to drink something alcohol related. All right, I gotta get out of here though. I got things to do with people. Got some ice to rub in my temples. So, all right. Until the next time, as per usual, be good, stay safe.